Hey everyone, Dr. David checking in for our pre-game warm-up. Much love out to our YouTubers and our people showing up live in the Zoom room. In case you missed it, there is, if you go to the community tab in the YouTube section, you'll see a link for the actual webinar if you want to come in and see it in the Zoom room, or you can watch us from YouTube. It's all good for me. There is a bit of a delay between when we show up on the feed in YouTube versus when people respond in chat. So by all means, join us however you want. We may be doing some altered state work later. So if you're driving, you may want to make sure you're not driving when that part starts. So in that case, it's about 2:52 p.m. We'll be starting at 3. You can figure this one's going to go about 2.5 to 3 hours. And I'm going to give you as much content as I can, the time that I have, and point you in the direction of where to go to level some stuff up. All right, that's it for now. Make sure you have stuff to write on, write with, caffeinated beverages to drink, oxytocin and dopamine preserving substances with which to consume, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Hidden Laws of Attraction. I'm your host for the next 2.5 to 3 hours, Dr. David Snyder, double doctor. I'm happy to be back with you guys. It's been a rough couple 3 years. For many of you, in case you didn't know, I spent the last 2.5 to 3 years completing a 5-year doctorate program. And I'm happy to announce that as of last Sunday, I've graduated, so I now have 2 doctorates, one in Chinese acupuncture and Oriental medicine, as well as Chinese energetic medicine, which is medical qigong, spiritual practices, neigong, things of that nature. So I'm very excited. I'm very proud of that accomplishment, and but it's been a slog. So enough of my personal business. I want to welcome you to tonight's webinar. The topic of tonight's webinar is something that is very, very prevalent in our thoughts, especially in the last few years, and that's the law of attraction. Ever since the movie The Secret came out, we've all been fascinated by the ability of the human mind and spirit, for lack of a better word, to create things, to pull things into our reality. And this webinar is going to pull back the curtain a little bit on some of the more important but less taught aspects of the law of attraction. Okay. I'm going to do some administrative stuff really quick, and then I want to go ahead and jump into the content of tonight's webinar. So first of all, much love out to my YouTube fans out there in YouTube land. Thank you so much for checking in with us from YouTube. Those of you who are intrepid souls who are with us in Zoom, I want you to go ahead and type your name in the chat, where you're checking in from, and are you a first timer, or is this have you been a veteran of Planet David? Just type in first timer in the chat and where you're checking in from, and your name, of course. And of course, if you're a vet, just type in veteran and how many years you've been bopping around Planet David. Okay. A lot of times I often forget what I'm about to do right now. So I just want to shout out at the beginning of tonight's webinar and say thank you to my intrepid support staff, the great and powerful Moss, the mighty Mia, who are back there making sure that all the phones are answered, all the emails are returned, and the questions are taken care of. So they're the ones that are going to be monitoring your behavior in the chats. So we lovingly call that duty whack-a-troll. So that being said, YouTubers, please, if this is your first time in Planet David, please type in your name where you're checking in from. And because I want this to be your webinar, right, I'm going to ask you to do something I don't normally ask until much later in the webinar, but I'm going to start off with it today because the more we target this to what you want and need, the more rapidly, hold on a second, apparently my recording is off, which I don't know why that would be because I turned it on. All right. Apparently, all right, so, well, we're going to have to fill in that last part, but that's the most important thing about how to levitate. So, moving on. All right. If this is your first time in Planet David, type in your name and where you're checking in from. If you're a veteran, type veteran. We've covered that stuff. If you could take a moment and type in the chat if there was one thing that you would like to be able to take away from tonight's webinar as a byproduct of tonight's training, right? That you could manifest one thing in your life that would make your time spent with me today worth every moment you've invested. I'm curious and I'm wondering, what might that be for you? Go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay. We got people from all over Europe checking in. That's pretty cool, right? Awesome. We got Jacqueline. She's a veteran. We've got Mortada from Alexander Quinones is here. And I saw somebody from, I just saw Spain go by. Anyway, the chat's flying by so fast, I don't have time. Anyway, I want to get into the body of tonight's webinar, but there are some administrative things that I want to get out of the way. First and foremost, make sure that you have something to write on and write with. Be sure that you're willing to actually do the drills as I guide you through them. Now, the reason I say that is because I am a very Gnostic teacher. And what I mean by that is I try to teach more through direct experience than I do through theory and lecture. Now, obviously, this is a webinar, so lecture is kind of par for the course. But what you're going to discover is that the more you actually get up off your butt, metaphorically or sometimes literally, and actually go through these processes as I guide you through them, you're going to have transformational experiences. You're going to start to experience things that fall outside of the theory and give you an understanding of what manifestation is really like. I'm curious if I were to ask you what your biggest questions about manifestation are, what might those be? Go ahead and type those in the chat. So the helmet's coming in from Germany. You got Stella. She says she has literally manifested my webinar. I think we should all go to Stella's webinar. What do you think? Ben's checking in from Boston. Very good. All right. Now I see hands raised. So let's talk about questions really quick. And then I want to get into a bit of tonight's content, if I might. First and foremost, there's 3 ways you can get your questions answered. A, raise your hand if I see it, which I usually don't, by the way. And you ask your question and it's relevant to where we are in the webinar. I'm happy to answer it. Now, you're going to be better off. You're going to be better served not by raising your hand, but by typing your question in the chat, because I reference the chats much more often than I do in the Zoom room here with the hands raised. Now, if I see your question and it's relevant to where we are in the webinar, I am happy to answer that question. If the question is not something that is relevant to where we are in the flow of the webinar, and I feel it's going to take us in a squirrel chasing direction, I'm going to elect to not answer that question or defer it to a later time. Now, my veterans type that's me in the chat. If you see a question being asked over and over and over again in the chat, which is the other way to get my attention, keep asking the question, right? If you see a question that's being asked that I'm obviously not answering for whatever reason, and you have direct experience answering that question, I invite you to reach out to those people in a way that won't fully distract them from the content of the webinar and give them an answer to that question. Okay, this is where the community of Planet David, which is really what we're about. We're a community of people who are looking for answers to problems that we're having in our life, who want to be better, who want to level our lives up in every way possible. And that, in essence, is what the law of attraction is about. It's about manifesting the life you want the way you want it, not the life you were forced into or that was chosen for you. Now, those particular statements, as we go deeper into our training together, are going to become more and more important, because many times as we start to embark on our law of attraction journey, there's some things that the gurus left out that if you don't know about is going to completely undermine or derail your law of attraction process. One of those is they sold you the idea. Again, I'm just going to start off with an unpleasant truth. They sold you with the idea that there's a law of attraction is a something for nothing gambit, and it isn't. My spiritual teachers, and I had many, and my life experience has taught me one thing. Manifestation, or it's the original word from which that was drawn, magic, nothing's free. There's always a trade-off. Okay? Magic, as it's taught in the old ways, is one of the most demanding, disciplined forms of spiritual science that exists. It's all about creation and manifestation, but it's discipline. You have to train, right? So there's always going to be a give and take. Now, the cool thing is that a lot of times what you have to give up are the things that are holding you back anyway. The laziness, the fears, the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment. These are all the things that a lot of times are what are actually holding us back. Now, why am I talking about this at the beginning of a webinar? Because I'm trying to scare off as many of you as humanly possible, right? Because if you want real power, you got to pay the price for it. And that's what manifestation is. Manifestation is about power. It's about the ability to transform and create on demand, right? Either in the present moment or within a specific amount of time. And that takes a little bit of training. Now, the people out in the law of attraction, personal development world, there's certain things you're going to gloss over. I'm not going to bullshit you. Okay. One of the most triggering classes I ever took was a class on manifestation, because real manifestation requires us to change from the inside out. It requires us to face the things that we're using to hold us back. Now, the good news is the things that hold us back, we may or may not have caused them but we have the power to transform them, if that makes any kind of sense. So if I'm off in the weeds a little bit here, just type in the weeds. If you are on the same page as where I'm coming from, go ahead and type "I'm with you" on that. And then we're going to get into content tonight. But I wanted to put that out there. And again, I've gotten real spiritual, much more overtly spiritual in the past 4 or 5 years than I probably ever preach, right? But one of the things that happens is we think we know what we want until we get it, and then we realize we don't. There's a part of us that pulls things into existence. Now we can distill that down to neurology. We can go up, we can go down. There's all kinds of things. We're going to give you some very practical hands-on things you can start doing and changing and manifesting. But I would not be a good teacher, a good guide for you if I didn't tell you the ugly truth first. Manifesting the things you want requires you to do and be something different, to become something different. One of my teachers, I recently posted a video on the YouTube channel, and I talked about one of my teachers, a lady by the name of Taylor Sinclair. And Taylor would tell us from time to time, her mother gave her some very, very sage advice. And I'd like to share that advice with you because it's going to be part and parcel of where we're going tonight. And that is this: you can be or do or have anything you want in this life. But first, you must become the person to whom that thing can happen to. Right? In NLP, we would say present state, desired state. This is where you are. This is where you want to be. What do we have to do to get you there? Right? So it's the same idea. Manifestation. Some things we can manifest lickety-split. Other things are going to require us to grow, to leave things behind. Sometimes our life needs to blow up before it can be reconstructed in a better way. So again, you will avoid taking that as a suggestion, but I'm putting these things out there because when you embark on your manifestation journey, you're going to be face to face with some of the things that have been holding you back so that you can deal with them. They're not there to punish you. This universe is not about punishment. You're manifesting every moment of every day. You know what? I'll save that story for my bio. Let's get started. So first and foremost, make sure you have things to write on. Make sure you're willing to do the drills and get the skills, right? And make sure that you participate as much as possible in this particular training. So let me go ahead and share my screen really quick, because otherwise I will be just jabbering and jabbering and jabbering at you, because I'm actually super excited to be back with you. So welcome to Hidden Laws of Attraction, how to manifest anything you want faster than ever before. We're going to teach you psychological tricks for reprogramming your subconscious mind, removing the blocks to your success, getting rid of negative emotions, and how to program your mind for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I, of course, am your host, Dr. David Snyder. And who the heck is Dr. David Snyder, and why should I care? Well, first and foremost, I am an actual doctor. I actually have 2 doctorates now. One is an academic and medical degree from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. The other one is also a medical degree, but it was granted by a spiritual organization, the Bianhua Gong Temple, and that is a doctorate of Chinese energetic medicine, and that is a more spiritual, energetic approach. All the things that were sanitized out of traditional Chinese medicine when the communists took over made its way to this country, and I was very, very fortunate to be able to learn those secrets and integrate them into the technologies I'm going to be sharing with you over the next few hours, right? So who is Dr. David Snyder? Why should I care? First and foremost, I've had a practice in Solana Beach, California for almost 20 years now, where my specialty has been treating physiological illness that's caused by repressed emotion. So while most neurolinguistic programmers, hypnotists, things of that nature, people of that nature, they deal with fears of flying, nail biting, weight loss, smoke cessation, my focus has been chronic illness caused by repressed emotion. Now, on the surface, that may not sound a lot like, what does that have to do with the law of attraction, David? Well, actually, everything, because every form of chronic illness is a successful manifestation. Every single one, every single person in my chair created the very disease condition that they came to me to fix. And when they fixed it, they changed what they manifested. And that's something I want to pull out there really, really quickly while I'm going through this whole bio section. A lot of people think when they manifest, when they put a manifestation practice into operation and what they manifested appears, and they're stuck with it. Well, no, you're not. And that's why a lot of people don't engage in manifestation practices, because they're afraid, well, I might not get what I want, but what if I do and I don't like it? Right? Let me explain something to you. You're never stuck. Okay? Anything you manifested once, you can change. That's an important principle that I want you to understand. Now, in addition to my medical and healing background, I've offered over 15 different products on various forms of human influence, everything from vibrational influence to linguistic influence. I'm the world's number one, one of the world's number one NLP trainers. I've been teaching conversational and covert hypnosis for almost as long, probably longer, than I've been seeing clients. It was my focus for many, many years. And I've authored and again, if you go to my website and you'll see some programs today. In 2020, I was named the number one NLP trainer in the world by Global Gurus. I've been in the top 2 slot for about 8 years. Once in a while, I get to beat the great and powerful Bandler, but mostly he's got a bigger following than me, so he tends to win. But this is true, right? Our program, Killer Influence, both versions were voted the number one NLP training programs of the year in the world by globalgurus.org. And there's a copy of our little page, right? And it's been that way since 2020. I also have a 10th degree black belt in Ryukyu Kempo, a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kun Tao, 2nd degree black belt Kosho Kempo Ru, 1st degree black belt in Fankuru Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in combat sistema, Senkomano Eskrima, modern arnis. And I like to joke that I have more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I have a doctorate in the medical Qigong systems as well now. Advanced pranic healer, pranic psychotherapist. So energetics has always been a part of my life. I just, up until very recently, never talked about it to the degree that I'm talking about it now. It was one of my little secrets that I used as a force multiplier. But what does all this have to do with manifestation? Well, 2 things. One is called vibrational state control. The other is called pattern recognition. You see, everything human beings do has frequency, and everything human beings do has a pattern. And if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you can recognize those patterns, you can tap into those frequencies, and by understanding how they work together, you can start to transform them. You can change them. Transformation is just, manifestation is just another word for transformation. And everything that we do in Planet David is about transforming your world, starting from you and working outward. Okay, so everything that human beings do has a vibrational frequency and a state. Everything human beings do follows a pattern, from the way they stand, to the way they move, to the way they think, to the way they talk, to the way they make love, you name it, to the way they date, to the way everything human beings do is a pattern in the process of happening. So when you start to ask, what does this have to do with manifestation, health, success, wealth, and happiness? Pretty much everything, because once you understand and recognize those patterns, you can influence them. Okay, are you in the right place? Well, if you're a fan of the law of attraction like I am, you know very well there are no accidents. If you're ready to take the randomness out of your manifestation work, if you're ready to remove blocks to your success, to get over limiting beliefs, to attract love, health, wealth, success, and more opportunities into your life without adding more work to your everyday life, you're in the right place. If you're ready to take your life to the next level and become the best version of yourself, type "that's me" in the chat. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. And if any of these answers apply to you, I want you to type "that's for me" in the chat. Okay. How many of you would like to manifest your ideal mate or a better version of your mate and be super attractive? Anybody want to do something like that? Right? Anybody want to banish fear and insecurity from your life and radiate confidence, assertiveness, and be truly powerful? Type "that's for me" in the chat. Right? If you'd like to make more money or manifest more money from your job, book more clients for your business, and get the raises or promotions you know you deserve, you know what to do. Type it in the chat, right? If you want to have people thinking, feeling, and acting the way you want them to, go ahead and type that in the chat. That one always raises a few hackles. But if you could do it ethically, honestly, and in spiritual harmony with the divine, for those of you who have a spiritual background, would that be okay? Okay, I'm going to teach you about how to do that. If you'd like to cause people to become attracted to you, to be pulled into your orbit, if you'd like to inspire your employees, your children, your spouse to do more of what you want them to do without coercing them, right? Go ahead and type that in the chat, right? If you've ever thought about what it would be like to be a wizard, to be able to actually send, cast a spell or send a message up to the divine and have the divine answer that. Go ahead and type that in the chat. If you'd like a deeper connection to your source, go ahead and type that in the chat, because that's where we're going. Okay. I can't now. Here's it. I'm just gonna be right up front with you, right? If this is the scope of everything there is to learn about law of attraction in a 2.5 or 3 hour webinar, I got time for this. So my promise, my commitment to you on tonight's webinar is I'm going to take you as far down this manifestation rabbit hole as I can. I'm going to teach you as much as I can in the time that we have. And I'm going to point you in the direction of where to go to keep your training going and leveling up your skills. Is that a fair trade? Yes or yes? As T. Harv Eker would say. Okay. If we can all agree on that, then I'm gonna jump in. All right. So let's talk about the law of attraction. First of all, I want you to make sure that you do have things to write on and write with. There will be times at some point in this webinar where I will be guiding you through some exercises that are closed eye processes. I may be guiding you through certain altered states to allow you to tap in and to interface with the different parts of your neurology that allow manifestation to occur. Now, if you're driving a car or operating machinery or a vehicle or anything, cooking dinner, watching your kids, whatever, if you're involved in any of those activities while you're listening to this webinar, please either mute the webinar, come back and watch the replay, or turn all that stuff off, right? So that you can safely go through the process that I'm going to be guiding you through, okay? I don't want any, again, I can't be responsible for your use or misuse of what happens while you're listening to this webinar, but I want to make sure that I put this out there, right? Altered state work should never be done while you're doing something that requires your full and undivided attention, right? If anything can go wrong, wait until those things are done and then go back and revisit this webinar. That being said, we've got a lot of really cool, you're going to want to stay on to the end of the webinar because we've got a lot of really cool things that we've got coming up for you. I don't want you to miss out on those. So let's talk about, let me go back to my webinar here, my slides. I don't like slides as a rule. Okay, so here's what I'm going to promise you today. If you stay on to the end of the webinar, I'm going to teach you the 2 most important factors for manifesting anything you want. It's not what you think, or maybe it is, right? I'm going to teach you about the hidden laws of mental dynamics and universal laws. These are the ones that they may not have told you about in your books on manifestation or in the movie like The Secret, okay? We're going to talk about something I like to call body-centered energetic psychotherapy or psychology. And this is an understanding of how your body processes subjective experience, takes it from vibrational to subjective to physical and tangible. There's a certain set of mechanisms at play that if you understand how to use these things, you can begin to do very powerful, not just manifestation work, but even more importantly, self-clearing work. You can dialogue with the parts of your own neurology that are creating your blocks, but are also the parts of you that can manifest your breakthroughs. So this is it's something that takes a little bit longer than I would normally do in a webinar, but in our Identity by Design classes or Hidden Laws of Attraction classes, I go through this really, really in depth. So I'm gonna go as fast as I can, as deep as I can with the foundations phase of tonight's webinar, which is the first phase. The first hour or so of our training is always foundations, things you gotta know, foundations that have to be laid. Second part of our webinar, which is about the 55 to 115 or 65 minute mark, is going to be progressions. In other words, teaching you we're teaching you bits and pieces and fundamentals from our complete system of manifestation, because obviously I can't teach you everything. Phase 2 is about showing you the entire system, what that looks like, and how to get access to that. Phase 3 is the practicum and applications phase. And phase 3 is where we take the foundations from part 1 and we start merging that with the things you posted in the chat, the specific applications you want to be able to learn more about. Maybe it's clearing blocks of success, overcoming limiting beliefs, whatever's holding you back. We have techniques for that. We're going to customize phase 3 of our webinar so you get the exact content that you need to start moving forward. Our job is to give you actionable content, things that you can take out into the world and start using right away. Now, here's what's really cool about, I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial to you, especially if you're coming from the classic law of attraction, faith-based world. You don't actually have to believe in any of the techniques that I am going to show you today. We've taken a lot of time to distill what we do down to a set of simple neurosomatic physical mechanics. If you just do this process the way we show you, it's going to trigger a set of transformations in your body that will yield a result that you want. You don't have to believe it, you just have to want it. Does that make sense? You don't have to believe it, you just have to want it. If you understand what I just said, type "I got it" in the chat. Because a lot of us say, well, I don't believe I can have that. Well, you don't have to believe you can have it, because we can show you how to change that really quick. Okay, very good. All right. I'm also going to teach you some of the fastest acting secrets for clearing your past and programming your future. In other words, I'm going to teach you in the amount of time that we have how to actually take control of the life you want and get it the way you want it. So let's talk. I'm going to jump to, I'm going to show you this slide really quickly. I'm going to go through it just so you understand where some of this training comes from. Hold on a second. I have managed to, okay. Well, there it is. It seems like my Zoom window keeps jumping around. I don't know if it's because of all the energy work I've been doing. It's finding new ways to mess with me, but we'll go with that. Okay, so we will not be covering everything in the picture I'm about to show you, but I want to teach you something really, really important. This is our approach to what we call vibrational alchemy or internal transformation. In other classes, it's known as the Identity by Design silo, okay? And the way this works is we put you into an altered state, and then we teach you how to remove all the negativity that you didn't even know you had. This is called general negativity. From there, we go into, if you have reasons for why you're not manifesting something, this level of the training will actually show you how to target that and get rid of it. So if you have something that goes away and comes back, or something manifests and then you de-manifest it, chances are there's what we call a safety lesson in your system that's keeping that thing from being permanent for you. We'll show you how to resolve that. Then we put in default driver states. These are the states that are naturally magnetic to the vibrational frequencies that have the elements in them that you want to attract. Then we're going to teach you how to change your internal dialogue. We're going to teach you how to actually change that voice in your head from one that's tearing you down, criticizing you, reminding you why all the reasons why you don't deserve stuff, to your own personal guide, mentor, and cheerleader. Something that actually motivates you, inspires you, and gives you all the reasons why you actually do deserve to have it. Then we're going to take these 5 processes. Now, again, we can't do this in the webinar, but this has been part of the program you'll be getting. We're going to take all of these, compress them, and remove all the negativity from your past, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. In fact, we drain all the energy out of your past memories and put them into your good memories so that your sense of positivity becomes even stronger. We take all these and we install them, kind of like if you're familiar with Psych K or Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics, we install all of this as a template, at the DNA level, so that it becomes a process that all of your cells are running, and it automatically applies it to every aspect of your life, Okay. And then what we do is we teach you how to take the qualities, characteristics of people who you admire and who you want to be more like, and how to imprint those into your own nervous system so that you can become more of the person that you want to be. So if you want to be better at tennis, maybe you pick your favorite tennis player, you use this magic circle technique, and we teach you how to actually imprint that. So when you go play tennis, you start using imprints and mirror neuron patterns from those people. It's a very powerful process. We call it the identity by design silo. Okay. And this is something that will dramatically change everything about how you manifest. Now, this is a 3-hour webinar, not a 5-day training. So I have time for 1 or 2 things. So I will cherry pick some things from this process and guide you through them so you can experience them. Does that sound like a plan? If you're okay with that, type that into chat. Cool. Excellent. All right. Very good. All right. So let me jump out of this. So yeah. So let's talk about why the law of attraction may not be working for you. How many people here have ever applied the law of attraction and it didn't work? Anybody? Okay. So I'm going to go through a real quick list here and see how many boxes it worked until it didn't work. That's true. And by the way, when things work and then they stop working, it's usually because there's a transformation that has to happen inside of you in order to keep going. Or there's a diversion that has to happen because what you think is the most direct linear path from a quantum perspective isn't. Okay, so I'm going to go through some lists of things. Hold on a second, I got to find my page. Okay. All right, so let's talk about, again, this is where I get to quiz you. So here's my question. What is the law of attraction? Just, again, there's no right or wrong answer, but I want to know where you guys are at so I can start talking about this. What is the law of attraction? If I were to state the law of attraction in 1 or 2 sentences or 3 sentences, what might that be? It's like, shit, man, he's asking me questions. This isn't fair. Let's see here. And by the way, if you're a veteran of Planet David and you already know the answer to this question, don't ruin the thunder. I'll say, so Ben is saying as above, so below. Stella's saying you attract who you are. Okay, okay. Anthony is and on YouTube is saying vibrational harmony. Okay. So you can see using your internal energy to bring things to you. Okay. Like attracts like. Brad says the ability to relate and react in a positive way. What your self-concept is, you attract. Ooh, that's good. Positive thoughts bring positive results. So Greg is saying, planning your work, then working your plan. Oh, a do-it-yourselfer. I like that. All right. These are all great answers. And in some respect, they're all right. If we want to go to its most nuts and bolts and see if this resonates with you, in most of the works that I've studied specific to manifestation and the law of attraction, most people believe that everything in the universe is a vibration. Would you guys agree with that? Yes or yes? Everything has a vibration. Okay. So what the law of attraction tells us in more or less these words is that you will attract into your life the situation, circumstances, and events that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. So if you're, the Buddhists would say you become what you think about all day long, or you think what you become, right? So if I think about happy, good thoughts, then I'm going to attract happy, good experiences. Does that sound like what we're taught the law of attraction is? Right? Does it work out that way? Does it work out that way functionally? So if I'm always thinking happy, positive thoughts, I'm always having happy, positive experiences. Oh, huh. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put on my neurolinguistic programmer hat real quick and just go back to that definition I gave you. Okay. You will attract the situations, circumstances, and events that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. So if we're not getting that all the time, something's wrong. Would you, or something's not quite right? Would that be a fair assessment? Yes or yes? It's again, this is how I teach, guys. It's an interactive thing. Okay. Maybe the problem isn't the vibration. Maybe the problem isn't the attraction. Maybe the problem is in the term dominant thoughts. You see, most of us, when we think of our dominant thoughts, we think of what am I aware of right now? What am I conscious of right now? I'm going to suggest that your dominant thoughts are the ones you're not aware of. I'm going to suggest that your dominant thoughts are the negative beliefs and traumas and hurts that you've been repressing and denying and running away from for years while trying to overlay them with positive thoughts. And here's why. After 15 or 20 years of working with people who have manifested fabulously bad things in their life, but it's still manifestation. One of the things that you discover very, very quickly is that the things that have the most energy are the things we run away from, the things we deny, the things we repress or try to distract ourselves from. Now, when you unpack those trauma containers, and I have German terminology for that, but imagine a memory, like a big bowl of soup that's in motion, right? That thing's constantly running. Every time you have a traumatic experience, whether it's from a one-time event or it's from a series of unfortunate events, those are little movies that are locked in your system somewhere, in your physical body, your energy bodies, in your mind, whatever terminology you use for it. And it's like a movie that's on an endless loop. You guys ever hit, when there's a little video you like or something, you just hit the replay or the repeat function on your player, and it just keeps playing over and over and over again? You guys know what I'm talking about? What happens when you have a limiting belief or memory, especially if they're caused by trauma, is somewhere in your mind and body is a little video playing on an endless loop. And it's playing all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, until you get rid of it. Now, from moment to moment to moment, your dominant thoughts are what you're thinking. What you think are your dominant thoughts are the transient thoughts you're having in the moment. So if I'm 80% of my stuff is happening below the threshold of conscious awareness, locked somewhere in my body on an endless loop, what are my actual dominant thoughts? Are they the ones I'm conscious of, or the ones I'm other than conscious of? You see where I'm coming from? The problem isn't with the law of attraction. The problem is with us. The problem is with the idea that the things we're aware of are the things that are dominant. They're not. The dominant thoughts that you need to clear that will allow you to manifest are the things that are always below the threshold of conscious awareness. Now, that sounds like a gargantuan Herculean task. It isn't, because there's a very simple way to begin to clear those things fast. Okay? And the way you do it is by provoking them. What? Poke the bear. Yes. What does that mean? It means everything you need to do is about clearing your crap before you manifest. But sometimes in order to find the crap to clear, you've got to actually do the manifestation part first. So let's play with this. Can we play a game? If you want to play a game, let me go ahead and type, I'll play in the chat. Okay. All right. So this is going to be one of our closed eye processes. If you're driving, please don't do this process. But I want you to stop for a moment. And I want you to think of something that you really want to manifest. Okay, that's the first parameter. Something you really want to manifest. I want you to take a moment and write that down. Okay. When you've done that, type done in the chat. Cool. All right. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a moment and I want you to create a mental movie of you having that thing. And if it's something you can't conceive of having, there's a simple workaround. Instead of saying, what would it be like? Ask yourself, what might it be like? Right? I could spend 2 or 3 hours unpacking all the power inherent in that one word, might. What might that be like? Okay. Okay. I want you to run that movie. And as you run that movie, I want you to start to become aware of the various feelings in your body as you run that movie. I want you to notice as you run that movie where the good feelings are and point to them. And notice there's a color, maybe a series of colors connected to those good feelings. Pay attention to what color of colors that might be for you. First impression. When you've got that, stop for a moment, shake it out, type done in the chat, and we'll go on to part B of this exercise. Okay. Good. Excellent. Now, for part B of this exercise, I want you to create that movie again. And I want you to run it again. And this time, as you run that movie, and you're asking what that might be like, I want you to notice the other feelings in your body that are not so positive, that are more on the icky, naggy, limiting side. And notice where in your body those feelings are located and point to them. And notice the color connected to those feelings. When you know where it is and what color it is, I want you to stop, shake it out, write down on your piece of paper where it was and what color it was, and then type done in the chat. Excellent. Okay. How many of you noticed first time you did it, there were some really good feelings? Look at let me look at my YouTubers here. Okay, done. Excellent. My YouTubers are on it. Man, I got a lot of dones here. And when you brought up those negative feelings, did you notice there were some colors connected to that too? Okay, Rob says he did not feel it. Okay, good. That's fine. Not feeling it. By the way, numbness and not feeling is still a feeling. Colors, yes. Very good. Now, we ran the same movie. First time we did it, I had you focus on where the good feelings are. Then we ran the movie again. I had you focus on where the negative feelings are. This is called provocation. Okay? A lot of times when you want to clear a block, that block won't be trackable until you try to do something in the positive direction. So I'm just as a quick just checking in. When you ran the movie the first time, How many of you noticed that the negative feelings were there already before I asked about it? Anybody? Congratulations. You just found your dominant thoughts. Your dominant thoughts wasn't the movie you were running in your head. The dominant thoughts that you needed to clear were the negative feelings you pointed to in your body. Does that make sense? If you're not manifesting the things you want the way you want them, or you manifest to a certain point and then it stops, or you manifest and what manifests is only partially what you wanted, chances are there were some programs running below the threshold of conscious awareness that was tainting the vibrational message you were sending out to the universe. Not your fault. You didn't necessarily put them there directly, but it is your responsibility for cleaning them up. So here's one of the first two rules I want to give you. You will attract into your life the situations, circumstances, and events that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. The problem is that your dominant thoughts are not what you're thinking. Your dominant thoughts are what you're feeling. And they're the feelings you're having below the threshold of conscious awareness. The reason we have to do tons and tons and tons of affirmations, if we're using the classical approaches to manifesting, well, we have to use vision boards and things of that nature, is because we constantly have to remind ourselves of what we want enough that we can overcome the negativity that's locked in our systems. Does that make sense? I'm going to put forth the idea that if you want to manifest things faster and better, you need to go proactively and clear up the things that are actually running on an endless loop inside your system, so that when you go to manifest, the person you are becoming the person now who can actually have it. Because you're going to have to clear this stuff no matter what. The more linear that process is for you, the faster you can get what you want. Does that make sense? Brad says I had to run a full scan of my body to find the negative area. That's fine. David says, what is the nature of thoughts really, functionally speaking? What are they? Oh, that's a great question. And if I asked the room, what are thoughts? I would get 100 different answers, and none of them would be practical. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of principles. I want you to write these down. Okay, first, everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Period. You're either moving towards something or away from something. Now, when it comes to manifestation, that's also true. The difference is a lot of times you're not conscious of what you're moving away from. And the only way that you can find it is by provoking it. The way you provoke it is to take your manifestation tools that you have, the positive manifestation tools, and you apply them. And when you apply them, if you have the awareness now to notice where in the body is the positive feeling, where in the body are the icky, naggy in the back. But how many of you noticed that when you focused, when you were doing your manifestation work, that when you were focusing on the positive image and focusing on the positive feelings, you tried to ignore the naggy feelings? Did you notice that? You were trying to consciously focus on the positive ones and ignore the negative ones. And did you notice that the negative feelings seemed to be fainter? They were somehow weaker, but like almost in the background kind of a thing. How many of you noticed that? Okay, Stella says, I didn't really feel anything. Good, I'm coming to your seminar, right? And not everybody will feel everything negative, right? Ben says, because they're hiding. Well, you're close. The reason that those feelings, those negative feelings, felt not as strong isn't because they're weak. It's because they're deep. They're deeper in the system, in the acupuncture meridians, in the fascia, in the organs. And so they have this far off, distant quality. But the deeper they are, the more dominant they are. Okay? So the dominant thoughts idea, you will attract the situations, circumstances, and events and people into your life that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts is true. But the dominant thoughts, the things that are really driving your buzz, are below the threshold of conscious awareness and they're locked in the body. We have to find those and we have to systematically remove them. Right? So when we talk about feelings in the body, when we're talking about manifestation, we're talking about law of attraction, we're talking about vibration, right? Vibration has two aspects to it. You have frequency and quality. So a certain frequency will express certain qualities, and then there's an amount to it. So, So for example, how many people are familiar with the concept of cymatics? You guys know what cymatic frequencies are? If not, it's okay. How many people have ever been little children? If you've been a little child, type me in the chat. Okay, good. So maybe you remember this when you were in elementary school or middle school in science class, you were learning about physics. They would take a stereo speaker and they would place it on its back, and they would take a piece of cardboard and they would sprinkle sand over the cardboard, and then they'd play a song or a sound through it, and the sand would vibrate. And as it vibrated, it started to take on geometric patterns. And every time they changed the sound that was playing through the speaker, the pattern would change. You guys ever have an experience like that? If not, you can go to YouTube and type in cymatic frequencies and you'll see all kinds of videos for it. So every frequency that is embodied has geometries and sounds and smells and tastes and things that it's emanating and expressing through the world. One of the primary ways that we use this is by understanding that vibration and frequency equals feeling. Your vibrational signature that you send out to the universe is the sum total of all the body feelings that you have. And so if you want a purer signal, you need purer feelings. You need more higher level vibrations and feelings. Does that make sense? So the question becomes, how do we use that? How do we do that? Well, it's written behind me. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. The question becomes, are you allowed to change it? And that's where that little diagram I showed you earlier, general negativity, special negativity, yada, 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 that's where that diagram comes in, because we can show you how to remove those things. Does it count if you still are? I don't know what that means. Okay. So you guys with me so far? Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling they either want more of, or a feeling you want a whole lot less of. Yes? So David is asking, I never got this about the law of polarity. Should everything negative be polarized towards the positive, or the idea is to get rid of it in the first place? How do you actually do mental transmutation? That's a great question. So let me answer a question that came before that, because it leads right into the answer to this question and where we're at right now. One of the things that we need to do if we want to become powerful in terms of our manifestation ability, and everything about you, by the way, is designed for manifestation and transformation. Your entire system is built like a tuning fork. Did you guys know that? Let me give you an example. One bone, two bones. One bone, two bones. One bone, two bones. Your whole system is built like a tuning fork. It's designed to transmit and transduce vibration. You're built for this, okay? But if nobody tells you how to interpret what's being done, or how the system operates, you're at a loss. So polarities exist. They have to exist until you can integrate them, until they become one unified whole. So that leads us to the concept of transformation, which leads us back to an earlier question. What are thoughts made out of? And if I were to ask you what thoughts are made out of, I would get 50 different answers. I'm going to just cut to the chase. There's 5 things that your thoughts are made out of functionally that allow you the ability to transform anything you want into anything you want. Let me say that again. There are 5 building blocks of thought that allow you functionally, that allow you to transform anything you want into anything that you want. So here it is. You guys ready? Here's what your thoughts are made out of: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory data. Let me say it again. I'll say it 2 more times. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory data. Okay? You guys want to play with this a little bit? Yes or yes? This is the interactive part of tonight's seminar. Okay, so let's start with something very simple. A lot of times when we are trying to manifest something, we're manifesting it from the wrong state. How many people here, by an honest show of hands, usually wait? How many people, real quick, how many people here know what affirmations actually are, or what affirmations are? I've heard of them. Yes? Let me ask you an honest question. How many of you don't usually start doing affirmations until you're in a shitty mood and you need to get out of it? Anybody? Be honest. Randy says, oh yeah, because most of us, when we're feeling good and we're feeling happy, right? We don't think about affirmations because everything's great. But when we're feeling down, when we get the next tax bill or the next rent check or the rent check's late, or, oh, I got to manifest. Now we're in a shitty, unresourceful state. And now 90% of the affirmations that we do are just to get back to neutral. So everything that we're going to do is going to start with A, breaking the state that you're in, becoming positive, and then building on that. Does that make sense? Okay. If you're doing affirmations from a state of desperation, you're running west looking for a sunrise. Okay. If you're doing affirmations from a state of fear, you're running west looking for a sunrise. Okay. So let's talk about, how do we change that? How do we absolutely just flip the script on it? Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Can we agree on that, at least for the sake of this webinar? Yes or yes? Okay. The fastest way to change your state is by changing your posture and changing your breathing. So this is where we're going to start. We're going to set the foundation for manifestation by changing our default state right now into something more positive. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to do. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. If you're driving, don't do this. So the rest of you, if you're not driving and it's safe for you to do this, I want you all to stand up. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question really quick. What's a higher vibration? Sadness or joy? Just type it in the chat. What's the higher vibration, sadness or joy? Ecstasy or anger? What's a higher vibration, ecstasy or anger? I know it sounds like duh, David, get to the point. What's a higher vibration? Playfulness or seriousness? Playfulness or seriousness? That's right. You see, when we start engaging in our law of attraction practices, you ever notice we tend to get serious? We may not be angry, we may not be sad, but we're like all in, we're like committed, right? That's a level of seriousness that the old masters would call lust for results. Lust for results will block your manifestation just as powerfully as trying to work from a state of sadness or anger or loss. So when the playful is about just doing it and having a good time with it. Does that make sense? And so when we start to do these things, we have to be willing to let it go. When you're playful, it's easier to let things go. Okay? It's the lust for results part that screws more people up because it's attachment. Attachment keeps you from manifesting. Okay. Jasmine is saying, I think the good is higher, but the bad negative is stronger. The negative energies have more amplitude because you've practiced them more and you have a negativity bias. But you can flip that script. So it's a good point, right? And again, we'll show you how to change a lot of this in the courses and stuff like that. But right now, we have to have an experience so that we can build off of it. Does that make sense? So I want you all to stand up. I want you to be like Tay-Tay and shake it off, right? Shake your body, right? Stand up. I want you to close your eyes. Remember, if you're driving, don't do this. I want you to close your eyes and remember a time in your life when you were having the most fun ever. You didn't give a crap about anything. You were just having a great time and you didn't care what happened. I want you to just take a moment and remember that time. Now, here's what always happens. A handful of people, when I ask them to do this, will go, ah! And they'll choke for a moment. That's okay. Every now and then, a smaller handful will say, oh, I've never had an experience like that. Well, that's okay. Just ask yourself a slightly different question. What might that be like? What might that be like? Okay. And imagine, just like we did, what might it be like to have that feeling? Okay. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to remember what you were seeing in that moment. I want you to remember what you were hearing in that moment. Remember what you were smelling and what you were tasting. Because when you do that, when you're in that place, and you see what you see, and you hear what you hear, and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's an amazing, wonderful feeling that you get. A feeling of absolute fun, pleasure, playfulness, whatever word or words you use to describe that feeling. Step into that moment. Stand the way you were standing. Breathe the way you were breathing. And as you do that, notice that there's a place in your body where those amazing feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment and point to where you feel it. And as you point to where you feel it, and you're standing that way, and you're breathing that way, I want you to look at that spot inside with your inner eyes. And I want you to notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. I'm curious, I'm wondering what color or colors that might be for you. Now, you don't have to type it in the chat. I just want you to become fully aware of those colors. And I want you to notice a big ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That ball of energy begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill your entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of play, fun, pleasure, joy. A cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all downers, all bummers, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs, in an infinite, ever expanding, and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away. Not even you. And when you realize it's true, test it. Try to turn it off. Try to make it go away. Keep your posture, keep your breathing, and notice what happens instead. And when you're satisfied, and only when you're satisfied, stop testing. Allow your eyes to open. Notice how good you feel. When you've got that, type done in the chat and what you experienced just now. Okay, for those of you in YouTube, you don't have to tell me the color. Ben says done. How are you guys feeling now? Ben says great. Done, lighter, very good. Here's the secret. This is how you should begin everything, right? How many of you guys would like to be up to 31% better at everything? Yes? Just do what we just did. When you move through the world in a fun, playful, explorational, let's just see what happens energy, you're up to 31% more aware, 31% more spontaneous, 31% more adaptable, and 31% more persuasive. As well as your counterparts, the people you interact with, be up to 31% more compliant. In other words, just by embodying this state, you'll get what you want 31% more of the time. Would that change your life? Would hearing yes up to 31% more change things for you? Can we really change our states that fast? Yeah, you can change them faster. But we needed a process. The more you practice this one drill, the more your life will change. Okay? Because you have this device in your brain called the reticular activating system that creates your perception of the reality based on the body feelings that you have. If you're moving through the world in a state of seriousness, if you're moving through the world in a state of anger, if you're moving through the world in a state of impatience, frustration, fear, that little mechanism in your head starts looking for things to make you feel afraid or impatient or frustrated. But if you're moving through the world feeling explorational and playful, and you're practicing and the ability to embody that on demand, then that little mechanism in your head is going to zero in on things that allow you to experience playfulness, that allow you to experience change and exploration and all those good things. Because it's a higher vibration, it's going to shift your consciousness and your reality. And that's what all manifestation really is. It's a combination of shifting consciousness and taking action. Let me repeat that. All manifestation is a combination of shifting your consciousness and changing and taking your actions. Put them together, manifestation happens. You don't got to believe it. You just got to do it. Okay. Jasmine is saying, thank you so much because I woke up this morning and was at a low. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go spend the day pretending I'm in my mind that I'm in a happy place from a kid. Boom. Right? There's so much power in the ability to play pretend. It's hidden in the Bible. When Jesus said, be as little children, this is what he was, in my opinion, this is what he was referring to. That childlike, imaginative mind that goes and acts on those things in the imagination, right? But we need a process. We're adults, so we need a structure. We need a process. This is how you do it. Decide what you want. make the movie, point to where you feel it, notice the color, extend the color outside of your body, expand it to fill the room, wrap it around you, breathe it through your body, and hold the posture of the state you want. And just keep breathing that color until the emotion that you want reaches its peak. Once you've hit that, open your eyes and take the actions that you wanted to take. This is platform. This is foundation. You guys with me? Was this useful? Okay. Now, one of the things I want to share with you about the process you just did, and the process you just did is called resonant frequency generator. Repeat that 2 more times. Resonant frequency generator. And it works off of the integration of your imagination, your breath, and your body. Okay, so the first thing that has to happen is you have to ask the question. We call this the somatic search engine. What do I want? What might that be like? Imagine it. Run the movie. Boom, 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 boom. Point to where you feel it, turn it into a color, externalize the color, fill the room with it, wrap it around you, breathe it through your body over and over and over again until you're fully embodying that state. So, good question. So does this mean that manifestation is ultimately a kinesthetic state and we are trying to maintain that rather than to manifest? Yes and no. There's a huge amount of kinesthetics in manifestation. How we get to those kinesthetics is where all of these other systems or all these other techniques come in. Because there's 2 things we want to talk about when we talk about the laws of mental dynamics. One is called the law of compounding and the law of primacy. Law of primacy says that whatever is there first and whatever is there the longest is the hardest thing to change. So every time you go to do a manifestation practice, if it's not in alignment with something that was already there, you're going to have to overcome that. You're going to have to change that thing that was there first. The way you do that is what we call the law of compounding. If I give you a suggestion over and over and over again, each suggestion or each affirmation is like a piece of paper. So I make a suggestion or I give an affirmation, I have a piece of paper. I do another suggestion, I put another piece of paper on top of that. Another suggestion, I put another piece of paper on top of that. It's going to take a while for that paper to build up any significant weight. Would you agree? Yes or yes? Okay. What if there was a way? What if there was a way to add more weight to the paper, to use heavier paper? Instead of using 20-pound bond, maybe we use 40-pound cardstock or 80-pound cardstock or something like that, right? What if instead of using the equivalent of a piece of paper, we're using the equivalent of a sheet of plywood? What would happen to our manifestations then? What do you think? Okay. You think it might accelerate our process? Sink deeper. Yes, Edie, it would. Not only would it sink deeper, the amount of energy, pure energy, that your system is sending out to the universe would be exponential. Okay. When we come back for phase 3, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But let's review, before we go into phase 2, where I take you into next steps, okay, let's review really quick what we've got so far. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling they want more of, or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. The feeling states in your body are equivalent to the vibrational frequency you're sending out to the universe. Higher frequencies are stronger than lower frequencies, okay? So lower frequencies, anger, seriousness, sadness, loss, grief, fear, insecurity, frustration, all that stuff lowers your vibration. So if you want to do manifestation work, you've got to dissolve that out and change your state to a positive state. Playful, joyful, grateful, loving. Any of those will work. And one of the things I actually would teach my therapy clients who couldn't do safety was pleasure. And it worked like a charm. It cut through all their traumas. Okay, so how do we do that? It's very simple. Decide what you want. Ask yourself what that might be like. Imagine it. Run the movie in your head over and over and over again. Stand and breathe that way. Point to where you feel that feeling, the good feelings in your body. Look at it with your inner eye. Notice the color. Imagine a ball of that energy out in the room. Expand it to fill the room. Wrap it around you. Breathe it through your body over and over and over again until your whole body's vibrating and tingling. How many of you noticed your whole body started to vibrate when you did that? Anybody? Yes, because what you just did was change the vibration of your entire body for that moment, for that duration. You up-leveled the entire vibrational signature of your entire system. Okay, that's your working state. That's where I need you guys to be when you do any of the manifestation tools I'm going to teach you in part 3. Now the question becomes, how do we get there? Which we just covered. That's one of the ways to get there. But how do we stay there? How do we start leveling up our entire system so that we're always in this upbeat, positive, powerful state of manifestation? And that's what the system that we're going to share with you in part 2 is going to be, and what we're going to focus on teaching you where to go in part 3. So are you guys ready for phase 2 to learn about next steps? Are you guys ready for that? Bring it, Ben says. All right, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so here's what I got for you. There we go. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to take a moment and type into the chat the exact things you want to manifest as a byproduct of tonight's training. Just type it in the chat as a byproduct of what you want from tonight's training, okay? And then with your permission, as you're doing that, I'd like to talk to you about the Hidden Laws of Attraction Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study Course. This is a set of programs that I custom designed and put together to give you the maximum ability to manifest anything you want on demand at will. Now, I'll be honest with you. I didn't necessarily design these things for you. I designed them for me. After working for so long with so many different people in so many different contexts, I realized that there was an underlying truth to all these systems. And that if you understood how to link them together, you could really pretty much use this to build your chi. If you're a martial artist and you're into qigong and energy projection and stuff like that, you could use this system to build your energy to redonkulous levels. If you're a healer, you could use this system to amplify your skills at healing people by using the techniques, but you can also use these things on yourself to heal and manifest. If you're someone who's interested in dating and relationship work, or you're a relationship coach, you can use these things to level up all the inner game skills that you might need, and any point in between. So the first thing is the Hidden Laws of Attraction Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study Course is about taking your life to the next level. It's about shucking off the layers of, we call them ego extensions, but basically they're the identities that other people have imposed on you, and about becoming the person you want to be based on your ideas, your expectations, your values, and the things you want in your life. Rhino's asking, how do you know if you're a healer? That's actually a really good question. Touch the tip of your nose. If you feel a little crease on the tip of your nose, to make a long story short, you're a healer, you just don't know it yet. Okay, but this particular program will help you to make more money. It'll help you to close more deals, and closing more deals could be getting that date. It could be helping people reach their transformational and therapeutic goals. It can help you become more confident, become more powerful. It can allow you to become more charming and charismatic and irresistible. And there's so much more that these technologies can do for you. Think about what you were able to do with just 5 or 6 minutes of color breathing and resolution frequency generator, how you were able to very quickly figure out what you wanted and what were the locations in your body where all the blocks were stored. Just that, just clearing those blocks would allow you to take off like a rocket. The reason I say that is because from 20 years of clinical experience, right? Most people move through the world with the equivalent of a jet engine and an anchor strapped to their back. And it's the difference between the thrust from the engine and the drag from the anchor that determines how far they get, how fast. Now, the challenge that most of us face is we think that all we need to do is put more juice and more thrust into the anchor, or into the jet engine, which gives us the appearance of putting out more effort, but it doesn't actually increase our velocity all that much, because the more thrust we put in the jet engine, the more drag we get from the anchor. But if we cut those anchors that limit us and hold us back, we take off like a rocket without any extra work. And so when we're gonna manifest things, it's about cutting the anchors that are holding you back so you can take off like the rocket you are. Okay, that's a weird metaphor, but it's kind of how I feel about it. Now, everything that I'm going to share with you tonight is a package deal, and it's good until 11:59 p.m. We encourage this for first-time buyers only. If you see some of the things in this program that you already have, we can allow you to substitute. If you've bought similar packages from us in the past, we do have other programs available and other packages available. Call Moss at 858-282-4663 or reach out to Mia at 858-282-4663, and we'll customize a package just for you. Okay, so the Ultimate Manifestation Mastery Home Study Course is about how to unlock the power of your body and your subconscious mind to quickly manifest anything you desire. It's about finding and removing the blocks to your health, wealth, and happiness you didn't even know you had. It's about becoming magnetic to money and abundance or whatever form of wealth you're seeking to attract. It's about learning how to influence people ethically, honestly, vibrationally, remote in time and space. It's about how to find and remove the hidden negativity, the secret rules that have governed how much you allowed yourself to make, or the mates you've allowed yourself to attract, and how to change those rules, how to become pain-free physically and mentally and emotionally, right? Because you no longer need to be that way. Right? It's about clearing up, for those of you who believe in past lives, it's about clearing up the karmic lessons from previous incarnations or genetic memory that aren't yours, but you're having to struggle and deal with. These processes will work on those things. So if you're someone who suffers from something like we call generational trauma or things of that nature, this stuff can actually help to clear that. And it can go back multiple generations. It's really fascinating how this works, right? We'll teach you how to clear up those issues that just don't seem to go away. If you've been dating the same person with a different face for the last 20 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you found yourself winding up in the same job in a different location every single decade, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. We're going to teach you a version of this powerful new Yinformation method for reprogramming your mind to attract the things you want and change what you deserve. The nice thing about a lot of these, let me say the nice thing, the challenge that we have when it comes to a lot of the classic manifestation tools and techniques that we're taught to use is they run contra to the beliefs we have that say we can have it. If that makes any kind of sense. Like, so if I say to myself, I now generate a 7-figure business. My business now makes seven figures a year, right? And I have a belief that says I can only have a high 6-figure business. Well, now that the affirmation that I'm giving myself is running directly headlong into the limiting belief of not being able to break 7 figures. But what if there was a way to ask your neurology a question that would bypass the limiting belief and tap directly into the beliefs you already have that allow you to do something? What if there was a way to do that? You're going to experience, that's what would happen when that's the equivalent of going from putting one sheet of paper on top of another sheet of paper to another sheet of paper to taking a plank of plywood and putting it on that sheet of paper, and then another plank of plywood and putting it on that sheet of paper, right? It's going to amplify the energy that you're bringing to bear on your manifestation. This is an intrinsic part of this program, okay? We're going to teach you how to delete the negativity and vibrational imprints from your past. What most people don't realize is that the people we've encountered in our past leave vibrational and energetic cords and programs mentally and vibrationally inside of us that actually limit us. We're going to teach you how to discover those and remove them. I'm going to teach you the image cycling process, which, in my opinion, in spite of all the many powerful things I've learned in the past 2.5 to 3 years, image cycling is still the most powerful engine of personal transformation and manifestation I have ever discovered. It will accelerate and supercharge any other processes you incorporate with it. But it's not always gentle. So you have to be ready for that, and so much more. There's so much more coming your way, right? Total value on this is $1,997. But if you grab your course today, you're going to get these special bonuses as well. So the first thing we're going to include is one of my favorite courses of all time. This is our Vibrational Influence United Kingdom Special Edition training. In this course, I taught everything from Reiki to the ancient esoteric Mikyo Buddhist system of magic and manifestation known as Kuji-in and Kuji Goshin Ho, which is the 9-syllable protection method. I taught advanced energetic sound work, manifestation practices. I think I might have taught some Kabbalah stuff in here as well. I think this also has, if I'm not mistaken, a module on dowsing. Lots of really cool things in this course. And it's usually a 3-day, but we taught a 5-day because we were out in the United Kingdom. So this program will teach you how to gain control of your mind and body and tap into the secret powers of your subconscious mind and your spirit to unlock your unlimited potential. It's going to give you the ability to harness the forces of the universe to do your bidding. That's a big claim. Don't believe me. Get the course, do the work, see what happens. In fact, one of the funny factoid, we had a circle of ladies who came to this training who fell in love with all the mudras and the chantings and stuff like that. And they became what was known as the Kuji cult. And in the morning, before I would go in for every training, there'd be the circle of women all holding mudras and chanting and manifesting things they wanted. It was really cool. So if you want to psychically and energetically protect yourself, there are very powerful systems for doing that. How to heal yourself and others, how to clear your chakras and master your energy field, how to actually measure chakra size and spin, things of that nature, how to increase your own psychic skills, and much, much more. So we're going to give this to you absolutely free. It's a $2,497 value. We're going to include the bonus days because, again, you're going to get the core system for how to tap into the power of your nervous system. We might as well give you other things that you can do with it. Okay. And total value on this is $4,494. But we're not done yet. We're also going to include, because a lot of you are coaches, therapists, and healers, we're going to give you our 3-day vibrational healing program. And this is a course that will allow you to unlock your true healing abilities faster than you ever thought possible. It's not going to necessarily replace what you've got. It's going to be an accelerator and a force multiplier to the exact things that you're doing and show you faster ways to get results with yourself and with your clients. We'll teach you to find and remove the energetic blocks to health, wealth, and happiness, things you didn't even know were there. We're going to teach you how to become a master of energy healing, how to heal people remotely. They're going to teach you 2 or 3 ways, actually, that you can do remote healing. Find and remove hidden negativities and energetic blockages, clear up issues that just don't seem to go away. Powerful new energy control methods for programming your mind. These are really cool. And energy bodies, empowering your healing and manifestation skills for maximum results in minimum time. Remember, everything we do in Planet David is about getting you the biggest bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time possible. I don't waste my time on low percentage technique, and I'm not going to waste your time on low percentage technique. If you're pathologically impatient like me and want results that you can take to the bank, sometimes literally, this is a course that will allow you to do that very, very fast. Okay. We're going to teach you energetic and vibrational self-defense secrets. You'll understand the dynamics of psychic attack and defense much better than the average human being. To discover the most powerful engines of personal transformation that exist, and much, much more. This is also a $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you free as well. So if you did all the math, hopefully my math is right, total combined value on this is $6,991. We're also going to include our Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course. Now, you saw a piece of this When I showed you that diagram that showed the general negativity clearing, the specialized negativity, default driver states, changing internal dialogue, removing the negativity from your past, installing it at the genetic level, and then installing the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you truly admire. This is the course that will teach you how to do this on yourself, by yourself. So you'll be able to reprogram your subconscious mind at will. In fact, if you follow the training in this program, you'll be able to do those entire 7 stages in less than 8 minutes. Because we actually have, in this video, I think in particular, we actually have somebody standing up in front of the room, and they go through the entire process from start to finish in 8 minutes. Actually less than 8 minutes, but I'm being liberal. We're going to teach you how to reprogram your mind at will, how to remove blocks and limiting beliefs, how to find and remove the hidden negativity, how to clear up the issues that just don't seem to go away. There's a theme here, right? Change that crappy voice inside your head to one that builds you up and motivates you and inspires you and reminds you of all the reasons why you're always good enough and you're never, ever alone. How to resolve the negativity from your past, this past or other pasts. How to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of the people you want to be more like, right? Not necessarily to be that person, but to be more like those people. This is your ability to custom design the identity you move through the world in. So total value on this is $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free because we want you to have everything. We want you to have all the tools at your disposal. And if you register for this program before the end of the webinar, that's a total combined value of $9,488. You're going to get all these fast action bonuses, or all these exclusive bonuses absolutely free. This is another super bonus that we're adding because inevitably people always ask me about how to manifest their soulmate. Well, a few months back, I did a couple of classes on exactly that, how to manifest your soulmate. And there's a lot of baggage and a lot of bad teachings about what having a soulmate is really all about, what that means and how to manifest that. So we're going to give you access to that entire training. It's how to find, identify, and attract the love of your life and actually keep them, right? It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. It's going to teach you some things you didn't know you needed to know, like the surprising way that chemistry affects the process of infatuation and how that's actually different from true love, right? And why you need to go through that infatuation phase and what to do so that you go through it and keep the relationship instead of bouncing from one infatuation or crush to another. We're going to teach you about how to overcome the soulmate myth. You see, there's a lot of people who believe that there's one person out there for them. And all the trainings I've experienced behind closed doors with mystics on the concept of soulmates say that, oh, nay, nay, that's not how it works. There is no one person for you. Your soulmates can actually change as your level of spiritual evolution changes. And if you're on the path of transformation and manifestation, you're going to change. And you need to understand the kettle of fish you're opening up. Okay, you need to know how to eliminate negative relationship programming from your childhood. We're going to show you how to do that, how to prepare yourself for the communication style of your partners so you can select partners that have a communication style that actually matches you. And if the partner you have doesn't match, how do you change that? What steps do you take so that both of you are having better communication and a better experience of being communicated with? Right? Techniques to move from the infatuation phase to the love phase. How to accept change in your relationships. How to determine what you need in a relationship, right? And how to know that you're getting it. This is such a crucial piece of the relationship puzzle, guys. And it's amazing to me how many people miss it completely. But if you can dial this in, man, nobody will let you go. And you will find people that will move heaven and earth to make you happy. Okay? But you've got to do the work, right? How to identify obstacles in your relationship and then conquer them. Strategies for keeping the spark alive. Maybe you're married or with the same person for 10, 15, 20 years. And it's just the same old, same old. How do we get that back? How do we turn up the juice, right? I'm going to show you how to do that. How to discover why you're attracted to certain types of people and why you move away from others, right? This is a real thing. Why are we attracted to certain types of people? Why do we have a type? And how do we fix that? Right? And if we do have a type, how do we make the most of it, right? You'll identify family patterns which contribute to the relationships you have, how to discover the qualities that you most want in a partner, right? How to learn the basic communication patterns and the ways to demonstrate your love. We call this love languages, right? So many people avoid or they ignore the concept of love languages and attachment styles. And it's such an important piece of how we maximize our relationships. You'll discover the difference between sex, sexuality, sensuality, and the role each one plays in your ideal relationship. You'll learn how to identify potential relationship challenges and how to handle them. Right? There's some and a whole lot more. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into this course. We're going to give this to you along with all the manuals and PDFs and all the videos, absolutely free. It's a $1,997 value. If you did all the math so far, you'd realize that the total combined value of this is $11,485. So let's just review what this Manifestation Mastery course is really giving you, right? It's giving you the Hidden Laws of Attraction home study course, valued at $1,997. We're going to include extra bonus training on advanced vibrational techniques that you can start employing right away with the Vibrational Influence UK Special Edition. It's a $2,497 value, comes with 2 complete bonus days of content. We're going to give you the Vibrational Healing 2021 home study course, 3-day training, $2,497 value. We're going to include the Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course, valued at $2,497 value. And of course, we're going to give you that extra super bonus if you grab your course right now, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Soulmate Secrets Masterclass. It's a $1,997 value. Total combined value is $11,485 if you were to buy them individually on the website, which some of these you actually can't. So obviously, I want you to have the best deal humanly possible today. If you're here, it's not an accident. You're here for a reason. You're here to get the tools to change your life. I'm going to give you as much as I can and point you in the direction of where to get the rest of it. So we're not going to charge you. We're not going to make you pay $11,485. I'm not even going to charge you half price, right? And put it in at $6,497. In fact, I'm not even going to charge you $2,497. If you want all of this and more, if you're ready to make a change, and you know you are, you can get it all for just one low installment of just $997. And to make it even easier, if you need to, all you got to do is you can break that down if you want into 3 easy installments of just $397 each. And all you got to do to get yours is go to nlppower.com/HLOA. Click the link, nlppower.com/HLOA. When you click that link, fill out the form. Make sure that all the bonuses are listed. If you don't, reach out to Mia or Moss and let them know what you want, right? Click the link, nlppower.com/HLOA. HLOA. Okay. And go ahead and I think they're posting the links in the chat, or they should be posting the links in the chat. Yeah, you might want to put the http:// www.nlppower.com/HLOA. All right. I think that link should work. If it doesn't work, let me know. I typed that in there for you guys. And I'm going to put this in the, I just put that in the, there we go. Okay. Hopefully that link works. If not, yeah, nlppower.com. Okay, great. Okay, so for those of you who need a little extra reassurance, here's my challenge for you. Grab your course now, click that link, http://www.nlppower.com/HLOA. Click this link right now. Test drive this program for 60 days. If after 60 days you're not on the fast track to making more money, getting the kind of love and relationships that you want, if you're not attracting more success and on the track towards manifesting the life of your dreams, we'll go ahead and we'll refund every cent you invested in this program. Okay? If this program doesn't work for you, I don't want your funds. I don't want your investment. I'll give it back to you. And you can even keep the programs you've downloaded as my gift for giving us a shot. There's absolutely zero risk here. Everything is guaranteed to work for you. If it doesn't, pick up the phone or send us an email. We'll walk you through the steps. If after we walk you through the steps, it's still not working, let us know and we'll refund you. Just let me or Moss know. We're all about making you as successful as humanly possible, but we can't multiply zeros. If you don't take the action, we can't take the action. Okay? I was always told that if you go halfway, God will come the other half. Well, notice what starts first, right? Click this link, nlppower.com/HLOA. If you have questions, you can reach out to Moss directly at 858-282-4663. If you call, and we always get a rush at this time, the phones are always busy, and you get the voicemail, please, 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 please leave your contact information. So many people call up, get the voicemail, and then they hang up, and then they call back the next day, and they can't get any of the extra bonuses. If you leave your contact information, and we always get back to you within 24 hours, you will qualify for any and all extra bonuses that we're going to be talking about. If you wait till tomorrow and try to get this offer, you won't be able to. All right. So please, if you call, leave your contact information if you get the voicemail. If you call and Moss or Mia pick up, ask your questions. They'll be happy to spend as much time as necessary. But remember, other people are trying to get through too. Right? Calling up for information isn't a time to trauma dump. And I'm going to be very, very clear about that, because we want to help, but there's time and a place for everything. So by all means, when you click this link or you call the phone number, we're here to help. You take the first step, we'll take the second step. Okay? Click the link now, nlppower.com/HLOA. All right. Now, for those of you who are ready, I always believe that the action that gets rewarded gets repeated. The action that gets repeated gets reinforced. So for those of you who are fast action takers, who want the biggest bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time possible, if you grab your course by clicking that link, nlppower.com/HLOA, before I log off the webinar tonight, I'm going to include these special fast action bonuses. Okay? You're going to get the NLP 3-month access to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program and Practice Group. This is the longest running NLP practice group in the world. It's been running nonstop since October of 2010. And you're not going to get us, let me jump out of this to talk about this. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program is not going to give you a certificate. It's going to give you something even more important. It's going to give you a community. It's going to give you the ability to roll up your sleeves, do the drills, and get the skills. On the third Saturday of every month, people log in from all over the world. If you're local, every so often we open up the NLP office, and you can come into the NLP office live in person with me and train. Last month, we did a double long mastermind. We did 8 hours live. So we had like 7-8 people from the local San Diego area in the training room, and we had like 20, 30, 40 people on the Zoom call coming in. And for 8 hours, we drilled energetics and manifestation and cord cutting and healing. It was wild, right? It was incredible. And you're going to get a chance to do that. For those of you who click that link right now, you're going to get 3 months access to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. On the third Saturday every month, you're going to log in or show up, and I'm going to ask you, what do you want to learn? 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 I'm going to write what you want on my little board. I'm going to step back. I'm going to look at what you asked for. I'm going to look at what everybody else asked for. I'm going to find the connecting threads. And I'm going to generate a lesson plan right on the spot. And for the next 4 to 6 hours, I'm going to drill you and your companions on exactly those skills so that when you leave, you can do them in your sleep. You've got the skill set you need. You drilled down. You did deliberate practice on the exact skill sets you need to make that stuff work out in the real world. Okay? You won't get a certificate from the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. What you will get is me and a community of like-minded people who are supporting each other and working together to become the very best versions of themselves, right? One of the problems that a lot of our students or a lot of other people have, especially if you're into the wonderful world of woo, is like you can't talk to anybody about this stuff without them wanting to burn you at the stake, right? Or looking at you like you're weird or some kind of flake. Here you have a safe space to explore the powers of your mind and body, to have experiences, to get feedback, and most importantly, to do the drills and get the skills. We've been running this program nonstop since October of 2010. Literally well, in 2 months, it'll be 14 years that we've been running this. Okay. Namisha says, who needs a certificate when you have David to answer questions and get the skills? Namisha can tell you because she's been to a bunch of our stuff, right? And don't believe me, by the way, the veterans who are in Planet David, if people have questions, talk about the mastermind, tell them how it's changed their lives, right? Now, here's an even better part. We've been running this since 2010. We have videotaped, with very few exceptions, every single one of those trainings. And we've archived them on the NLP Power website, on our private Facebook group, and on our private members only YouTube channel. As a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, you're going to get access to the entire 13-year archive. Binge watch it to your heart's content. Content that has never been seen on YouTube, content that has never been released in a product, all member driven, all asking the same kind of questions you would ask. So if you don't mind sifting through it, because a lot of it's repetitive, because people ask the same questions year after year after year, you can get everything from manifestation to therapy to accelerated learning to remote viewing to aura reading to developing psychic skills, advanced therapeutic applications, NLP, conversational hypnosis, anything to do with mind, body, energy, spirit, martial arts. If it can be asked, it's probably been asked, and you have access to all that training. Total value on this is $1,597 value. You're going to get a 3-month trial for free. Okay. If after 3 months you decide that you like the family you're in, we'll show you how to extend your membership. If after 3 months you got what you need and you're ready to move on, no fuss, no muss, no harm, no foul, right? So by all means, click that link. If you want somebody who actually cares about your success, come join me on the other side. Okay, that being said, we have a couple other really cool bonuses for you. Total value on this, by the way, is $1,597. If you add that to the other bonuses, it's $13,082. Okay. Fast action bonus number 2. This is the yin. This is the yang to the yin of Soulmate Secrets. One of the things that I would always get is people want to know how to attract their mate or how to find their soulmate. Here was what I discovered on the other side of that was a lot of times people want to know how to find their soulmate. But what they often had was a lack of skill set. They didn't know how to attract those people. So I decided to do a class for men and women purely on the skills of attraction, purely on understanding the mindset, the rationale, the strategies and tactics for once you've found out what you're looking for through Soulmate Secrets, and you know the kind of qualities in a person, how do you go about vetting those people? How do you find them? Where do they hang out? And how do you vet them? And how do you make them attracted to you? Because most of you will have all had the experience of being attracted to someone who checked all the boxes for you, but they weren't having it, right? I want to teach you how to flip the script on that. I want to teach you how to generate attraction in any man or woman you want with a high probability of success. And so we'll go step by step by step through the meeting, dating, and attraction phase, the 7 stages of attraction body language. I'll let you speed read where they're at in terms of their connection to you. We'll talk about the 3 magic questions protocol that allows you to go from complete stranger to deep, intimate level partner in as little as 20 minutes, designed for women to use on men, but both genders learn how to use it, and how to accelerate and amplify that emotional intimacy, and how to have the best sex humanly possible, and all points in between, how to go from a short-term relationship to a long-term relationship to a permanent and committed relationship. Each level of the dating process or the mating process has certain dynamics that shift and change, and you need to understand those so that you can manage it. So this is the yang to the yin of the Soulmate Secrets program. This is all about the skills you need to attract the people you figured out you wanted in Soulmate Secrets. We're going to give this to you absolutely free because we want you to have both sides. We want you to have the yin, we want you to have the yang. It's $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. And we'll cover everything from how to walk up to someone cold, as to how to signal approachability, how to find what people are passionate about and link it to yourself, how to become the most interesting person anyone's ever met, right? And how to check the boxes, how to figure out if the person in front of you is in fact the person they're presenting themselves to be, so that you can make a fast decision as to whether they're a hell yes or a hell no, or somewhere in between. Okay, so $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free to round out your manifestation mastery program. Total combined value, total combined bonuses on this is $15,579. And for those of you who are interested in the wonderful world of woo, coming up in November 8th through the 10th, we have our next vibrational influence live training. This is energy healing, remote influence, and manifestation boot camp. So if you've got the vibrational influence UK videos in your program, you'll be primed and ready to come in for this 3-day extravaganza and live deep dive into all things vibrational influence. And I'll be actually teaching some things here that I've never taught before in any other classes. So we'll teach you how to accelerate and amplify the energetic aspect of your mind and body. In fact, there's one exercise that the longer you do it, the denser the energy ball you're holding gets. And then we'll show you how to program those energy balls to go out and do things for you, right? We'll teach you the most powerful manifestation tool on the planet. We may even teach you how to pull the alcohol out of whiskey, like we did in Vegas. So a bunch of cool other things. We'll hook you up to machines and let you practice raising and lowering people's body temperature, blood pressure, so that you have definitive proof that you can actually influence another human being, both in the room and remotely. It's really cool. It's a $1,997 value. And it's supposed to be 11 people, not 1,511 people. So limited to the first 11 people to buy this pro product or package today, we will give you this VIP ticket. Now, the nice thing about this VIP super ticket is once you have it, it doesn't expire. So if for some reason you can't come to the vibrational influence training live in November, well, just let us know. We'll move you to another training. If something comes up at the last minute and you can't come, no harm, no foul, just let us know. We'll put you back in our database. If the training fills up and sells out, and then at the last minute you realize you can come, pick up the phone, let us know, we'll find you a seat. If we raise the price of the training between now and then, you don't pay a dime extra. If you decide that you don't want to come to vibrational influence, but your spouse or your brother or your sister or your friend wants to come, you can gift this ticket to them or sell it to them at a discount. At a discount, you still get a profit, right? The ticket is yours to do what you want with it. It does not expire. So if it takes you 2 years to come to a training, you can do that. Okay. The only thing we ask is that if you're going to gift the ticket to somebody, that you call ahead of time and let us know that's what you're doing, so we know to expect them. Okay. So $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you free if you're one of the next people to click that link, www.nlppower.com/HLOA. Total combined value is $17,576. Now you'd say, well, David, I'll be honest with you. I really want to come to that live event, and that VIP ticket is really good. But you know what? I don't get a lot of vacation time traveling to San Diego, especially with the hotel strike, is getting more and more expensive. Well, congratulations, because we'll actually let you, for a select few, we'll actually let you attend this remotely. But even more importantly, for those of you who can only do virtual things, click that link right now and you can have a VIP super ticket to our next 3-day virtual healing intensive. This is 3 days of me and you and a small group of people working through 3 8-hour days of one transformational technique after another, removing the blocks to your success, overcoming your limiting beliefs, reprogramming and eliminating self-sabotage, removing fears and phobias, physical, mental, and emotional pain, dissolving traumatic memories, reprogramming your past so that it only makes your life better. 3 days of me using my considerable tool chest to give you one transformation after another. It's going to be October 11th through the 13th here in sunny, well, actually, it's live online. I'll be in sunny San Diego, but you can be anywhere in the world, right? All you got to do is click that link right now to reserve your spot. And when October 11th rolls around, you'll log in and you're my little puppy in a loving way for 3 whole days. And for those of you, just by a show of people, how many of you have been through one of our healing intensives? If you've been through one of our healing intensives, type me in the chat and what your experience was so people can see what that's like. It's for the next 10 people who click on the link. I don't know why the little strike throughs are not showing. They're showing on my PowerPoint, but when I show it in reading mode, it's not showing. It's very weird. Total value on this is $2,350. We're going to give this to you for just because we want you to have everything. And this is your chance to work as close to one-on-one with me as it's possible to get without paying $3,000 or $4,000 a pop. So if you want my expertise leveled at your issues and you want to work together, this is your chance to do it. Click that link right now. For $9.97, you get everything we just talked about. Total value on this is $19,926. So let's just look at that, okay? Again, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation Home Study Course, $1,997 value. That's the core package, right? Then the bonuses, Vibrational Influence, United Kingdom, South Special Edition, $2,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. Vibrational Healing Home Study Course, $2,497 value. We're going to give this to you free. Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value. We're going to give it to you free. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Soulmate Secrets Masterclass, $1,997 value. We're going to give it to you free. Fast action bonuses. Remember, guys, these fast action bonuses are only good during the live webinar. If you're watching this on a replay, unfortunately, you do not count. You do not qualify. You count, but you don't qualify for the fast action bonuses. For those of you who want the whole enchilada, as Dan Kennedy would say, click that link right now. Click it right now before it's too late, before somebody else gets your spot, right? Because when I log off, those bonuses go away. So Attraction Mastery 4-day video intensive, $2,497 value. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group 3-month trial membership and the archive, $1,597 value. We're going to give that to you free. And the 2 VIP super tickets. You're going to get the VIP super ticket to the Vibrational Influence Live 2024 training here in San Diego. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. And you get a guest pass to our next online virtual healing intensive, $2,350 value, absolutely free. Total combined value of today's package. Today is your lucky day. Click that link now. $19,926 in value. You can get it all for one little teeny tiny investment of just $997. And if you want even easier, you can do it in 3 installments of just $397. So click that link right now. Ask any questions. Yes, Melissa, this is a live webinar, right? I just keep reusing my slides, right? So go ahead and click that link. We're going to take a 7-minute break so I can wet my whistle, maybe visit the men's room. And when we get back, we're going to get deep into part 3 of the webinar. We're going to get back into applications. We're going to start focusing the prodigious tool set that we have towards clearing blocks to success and manifesting the things that we want. We're going to customize tonight's webinar to the exact application or applications that you want to focus on, right? If you want to ask me questions for the next 40 minutes, you can do that. If you want to work on specific techniques, we'll do that. Okay. Part 3 of this webinar is always about you. Okay. I love you all. I will see you in 7 minutes. Okay, folks, I'm back from my break early because I have a few minutes. Maybe not a whole lot, not as many as much as I thought. I got a couple minutes, so if you have a question, I'm happy to answer it. Right? So go ahead and ask your questions. Okay, the true gold is in the course. He is generous, amazing, free information. Thank you, Yoda Mine. That's really very kind. Mehmet. Mehmet, that sounds. Have I met you, Mehmet? Me and other 55 people watching for free lecture. Yes, you are watching for the free, and it's fine. All right. Again, the best part about these techniques is you can take them out into the world right now and start putting them to work. Nolan, David, can you please explain why asking affirmations in the form of questions is more powerful than stating them in the form of a statement? Because, well, I could give you a bunch of different answers. But the truth is that your brain is a question answering mechanism. Okay. And when you ask the brain a question, it will, by its very nature, it will seek to come up with the best answer it can based on what it believes is possible and plausible. And it's a really good question when we talk about that. In fact, I'm gonna stop screen sharing for a moment to talk about this. I have a course called Weapons of Mass Instruction, and it's all about the neuroscience of storytelling and metaphor. And one of the sources that I found for that course I created was a book called Resistance and Persuasion by Dr. Eric Knowles. And one of the things that Dr. Knowles discovered in his research was that the brain doesn't really think about things in terms of true or false. It thinks about things in terms of what's plausible and possible. If something is false, but it's plausible, the unconscious mind will tend to accept it. If something is true but implausible, the unconscious mind will tend to reject it. Now, how does that relate to questions? Your brain, by its very nature, must seek to answer any question you put to it. If you ask your brain a question, your brain will start to generate answers. And you may notice that a lot of times when you're talking to yourself in your head, you're asking yourself a question, your brain starts with one explanation, and then it gives you another explanation, and then it starts giving you all the different possibilities. You guys ever notice that? Right? One of the games I like to play with my students is, again, realizing that I'm about to ask a completely nonsensical question, your brain's going to do this anyway. Notice what your brain does anyway. Why, in fact, is the moon made of green cheese? Now, some of you will do a double take and have a moment of cognitive dissonance. And then your brain will start to say, well, where's he coming from with that question? Maybe he means this. Maybe he means this. Maybe he means this. Maybe he means this. Right? How many of you found yourself doing that? Go ahead, type it in the chat. Okay. Okay, I see some questions for manifesting things. Okay. Okay. So when you ask your brain a question, you create a space, a void that the unconscious mind needs to fill. Now, how many people here have been on my seminars where I talked about what the nervous system creates, the nervous system accepts? You guys, how many of you have heard me say that? So display name says, it's so ridiculous you don't even reject it. That's right. Right. So Stella's not been on, have never heard me say that. Okay. So put this in your manifestation manual. because these are some things that one of the reasons that our change work is so fast and effective. Whatever problems you think you have, your nervous system created them, right? See, you'll hear me say from time to time, people are not the way they are because of the things that happen to them. They're the way they are because of the way they've recorded the things that happen to them and the way they're relating to those recordings. I'll say that 2 more times for those of you taking notes. You are not the way you are because of the things that happen to you. You are the way you are because of the way your nervous system recorded the things that happened to you and the way you've been relating to those recordings. So when we were doing that exercise in part 1 of the webinar, and you were running that movie in your head, right? And you became aware of those negative feelings. Each of those negative feelings is connected to a memory or a set of memories that your nervous system is treating as if it was the actual thing that happened, but it's not. It's a recording that your nervous system made. And because we're running a movie that requires this stuff to go away before this can manifest, there's a war going on in the body. And that's what brings those negative feelings into your awareness. You're provoking them. But each of those negative feelings is connected to a little movie that your brain and your nervous system created. And it's on an endless loop. But it's not the event that happened to you. It's, in other words, if I'm driving down the road when I'm 17 years old and I get T-boned by a car going through an intersection, that actual physical T-boning at the intersection happened one time. But now, 18, 19, 20 years later, every time I go through an intersection, that movie plays in my head or in my body. So the car happened to me once, but I've been doing it to myself for 20 years because I keep replaying the movie. And until I go in and I clear that movie is going to continue to taint my vibrational field. It's going to taint my thought processes relating to cars and intersections and everything else. But the event is gone. It happened 20 years ago, 18, 20 years ago. But the movie, that's still there. And that's what's doing it. So all the things that you think you're not over, you're over. That event is gone. It can't come back and hurt you. What you're relating to is the movie that you made of it. And part of the enlightenment process is to get rid of those. Part of the manifestation process is to dissolve those so it no longer holds you back or taints your manifestation. But here's the thing you need to understand. This is a bitter pill for some people to swallow. You created that movie. Yes, you created it from an event that happened to you, but your system created that movie, which means you have absolute power, jurisdiction, and authority over that movie. But the problem you've been having isn't the movie, it's the way you've been relating to that movie. And once you understand how your system works, you can go in and change the movie or dissolve the movie or do whatever you want with the movie. Right? So it kind of got us off on a tangent, but it's really important when we start talking about manifestation and hidden and laws of attraction and things of that nature. Many of the things that hold us back are beliefs we've inherited. We call them unchallenged truths that we've inherited from our parents, our primary caregivers, our cultures, things of that nature. But a lot of the things that hold us back are trauma-induced, and they're not the thing that happened to us. They're a recording of the thing that happened to us. And you're allowed to go change that. So Devin's saying, got to get rid of our hidden trauma stash. Well, yeah. The challenge, though, is finding them. That's why the little drill I gave you at the beginning of the webinar is so important. Can we use that whole running that movie in your head to manifest stuff? Yes. But it's kind of like a manifestation sandwich. You run the movie to find the limiting beliefs so you can dissolve the limiting beliefs. And then when you run the movie, it has more power. So think of it like a manifestation sandwich, right? Manifestation on mayo, right? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let me go back and look at some of the things you guys wanted to focus on today. So did I answer the question that I was originally asked? I hope I did. So Oofy Doofy says to dissolve the mental image. Well, it's actually really easy. Let's play with this really quick. Okay. I want to give you guys, I want to reference back to something we did at part 1 of the webinar when people were asking me, what are your thoughts made out of? And most people would say energy, right? Some people might go the biochemical route. But really, the functional building blocks of all of your thoughts is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, right? I'm going to show you guys a graphic really quick here that I hope will help you. This is called a holographic memory unit. One second. Okay, can you all see that little egg-shaped, eye-shaped looking thing? Yes? This is my conception of what in metaphysics and magical practices we call a thought form. But this is also, from a clinical neuro-linguistic perspective, my conception of what we call a thought, a memory, a dream, a fantasy, a daydream. Every single subjective experience that you can become aware of and communicate is built this way. When you create a manifestation, this is how you're building it. In the center of the diagram is the movie you're running. Right? Remember I had you guys imagine what something might be like and run that movie in your head? In the center of this egg, the yolk, so to speak, or if you think of it like a rewritable DVD, is your movie. But that movie has a visual set of attributes. It has a soundtrack and a set of audio attributes. It might have kinesthetic or olfactory or gustatory attributes. Okay? Each of these is a track. Oops. Right? And within that track, the visual track, the auditory track, the kinesthetic track, are subdivisions. So in the visual modality, for example, so let's do this. I want everybody to, again, if you're driving, don't do this. I want you to close your eyes, bring up the movie we made at the beginning of the webinar, and I want you to watch the movie. And as you watch the movie, don't type it, just answer out loud the answer I give you. As you look at that picture, is it in color or black and white? Is it moving or is it still? Is it fuzzy or is it clear? Are you seeing yourself in the movie or are you seeing it like a first-person video game, like you're seeing it through your own eyes? Okay? Listen to it. Is there sound at all? Are the sounds loud or soft? Is there rhythm? Is there tonality? Is there tempo? Listen to it. Smell it. Are there smells in the movie? Are there tastes in the movie? What are the attributes of those smells and tastes? It's just, you don't have to write them or type them. Just speak them out loud, just so you know. Right? And when you've done all that, just type done in the chat. And then we'll go back to. Okay, good. Now, here's what I want you to do, just for fun. We call this the frame game. I want you to bring up the movie of the thing you really want, right? I want you to note, as you run the movie in your head, I want you to notice there's a place in your body where the feelings connected to that movie are stored. Where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment, point to where you feel it. Now, if there were a picture floating in the space around you that represented that feeling and the movie it's connected to, a place outside of your body that you could reach out and touch, first impression, where would you reach out to touch it? Now take both of your hands, trace the outline of that movie with both of your hands so you know how big it is. And then just for fun, grab it with both of your hands and make it bigger, expand it to fill the entire room. And as you do, notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as you make that picture as big as the room. When it's as big as the room and you're feeling those feelings, leave the picture there in that size and type in the chat what just happened, what just changed. I'm not going to judge what kind of change you had. I just want to know what changed. More clarity, excellent. Did the feelings get stronger or weaker? Less personal, okay. Weaker, good. All right, so population falls into one of several categories. We have expanders and concentrators. You have a picture that's so big. If you're an expander, I make that picture bigger. The intensity and the volume of the picture, the volume of it gets stronger. If you're a concentrator and I make that picture bigger, it diffuses it and makes it less powerful. But if I take that picture, so for Stella, who's a concentrator, take that picture now and shrink it, concentrate it down, and notice what happens to the feeling in your body as you do that. Okay, now bring it back to its original size, grab the edges of it, slowly pull it closer to your body, but keep the size of the picture the same. Just pull it closer to your body. Notice what happens to the intensity of the feelings. Stronger or weaker? When you're done, put it back. So Lamar says stronger. So David is asking an indelicate question. I love indelicate questions. But if high good feelings make change, does that mean that orgasmic states are the best clearing? Yes. To answer your indelicate question, David, yes. This is why in every major religion and every major spiritual practice, the use and application of sexual energy is either condemned or kept secret. Okay? So yeah, sexual energy is like the equivalent of nuclear power in a more eco-friendly way. But yeah, I have seen personally, I didn't do it, I was witnessing it. I have watched a woman cured of spider phobias through 20 minutes of continuous hypnotically induced orgasm. Completely cured. Yeah, orgasmic energy, sexual energy specifically, is one of the most potent forces in the human being. But most people don't know how to tap into it, access it, or anything. There's training that goes with that. And that's why it's kept very, very, I've been very fortunate. I've been given access to those teachings. But by and large, most people shouldn't be messing with it. And they're getting into it for the wrong reasons. But again, it was an indelicate question, so it deserved an indelicate response. All right. So Devin's saying we need some temple priestesses. Well, they might say we need some temple priests. So anyway, So sexual energetics is actually something that I will teach people about, just not in a public forum like this. There's too many things that can go sideways. So this is why shouldn't people have access to it? It's not that people shouldn't have access to it. Is people need to have proper access to it. And that means having the training and the understanding and the development of what goes along with that. Most people look at sexual, I don't know, this went in a very different direction very, very quickly. Most people look at sexual energetics and the spiritual practices and the alchemical practices that go with it as an excuse to get laid. They're hiding behind tantric this and Taoist that, and they're just trying to get laid, right? Or vampire as much energy off of partners as possible, and that's not what the practice is for, if that makes any kind of sense, right? If people want to know more about those things, email me privately and I'll point you in some directions. But to manifest using sexual energy, extraordinarily powerful. But if you can't manifest using the other energies of the body, when you tap into sexual energy, everything's going to go crazy, because it's one of the most, the way I was taught it was, building energy is easy. Building energy is easy. Controlling it is the problem. Right? You can email Moss at NLP Power. He'll forward it to me. But I reserve the right to hold shit back until I get to know you better. Why is sex taboo even in your teaching like the church? I'm not sure I understand. I have to be careful because I'm on a public channel, and anybody can get their hackles in their skirt note in a bunch by talking about this stuff. If people want to learn more about the sexual energetics of things, I will teach aspects of that in the upcoming energetic live events that we're doing. But if you can't do identity by design, the identity by design silo, you've got no business doing sexual energetics. Okay? Because sexual energy will amplify whatever crap you've got in your system. Okay? It's the most powerful energy in the system, which is why it's not taught or discouraged. Okay? You're saying the same as church. It cannot be talked about. That is what I mean. No, we can talk about it. The problem is, if I talk about it, you're going to go try and play with it. And if you play with it, all right, I'll give you guys want something? I'll tell you something. Here's the thing you need to understand. If you want to work with sexual energy, right, then you need to purify yourself. You need to clean your shit like it's nobody's business. Okay? You need to be able to withhold ejaculation, and you need to be able to create a coherent thought and program that energy while you're having an orgasm and then releasing it properly. Okay? That's one way to do it. There's other ways to do it. Right? If you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, you're not going to do this. Okay? There's training involved, guys. And even in the Catholic churches, again, I shouldn't even say this, in the closed door Christian mystical traditions I was given access to, sexual energetics, sexual magic was practiced. That's all I'm going to say. It was practiced in the monasteries. Okay? It was designed. I don't care how old you are, guys. I don't care. Okay? Again, thank you for that indelicate question, David. Now everybody's got sex on the brain. Right? All right. Oh, women, same thing. The difference, okay, so the difference for men and women when it comes to sexual energetics is that men lose tremendous amounts of energy through ejaculation. They lose in Chinese medicine, old Chinese medicine, they'll tell you that 1 drop of semen equals 10 drops of blood. Okay. So if men want to do the sexual energetics, they have to practice semen retention. Right? Women don't usually have that big of an issue during orgasm as men. They lose a lot of their energy during menstruation. So during times when you're on your cycle or whatever, you take the energy from your lower dantian, you move it up to your heart while you're on your period, and then when you're done, you bring it back down and store it in the lower dantian. Okay. Women actually are sexually are much stronger than men, and they have a much bigger charge of yin, so they can hold a lot more energy. So women actually have a tremendous advantage when it comes to that. I won't be 81 till January. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't care what age you are. You can all practice sexual magic or sexual energetics. But one of the things you want to do is you want to breathe into the genitals and build up a charge in the lower dantian. Okay. Once you build up the energy in the lower dantian, you imagine an energy ball coming out. You imagine very vividly what you want to manifest, and you imprint the energy ball, and then you give it to God and say, this or something better. Okay, so notice what I said. You bring the energy ball out, you imprint it with what you want, you sell it this or something better, and you give it to the divine. And you say to the divine, this or something better. You can't leave that part out. You understand me? You can't leave that part out. Because if you do, then that energy ball can do all kinds of crazy stuff you didn't want it to do. And it can take on a life of its own. And whatever it does, you're karmically responsible for. Okay? There's whole trainings on this. Guys, I mean, I'm giving you a very quick, relatively safe way to do this. You use this at your own risk. Right? But I told you, there are certain things, Stella, this is moving in a very different direction, right? Energy that is not well programmed, energy that is not guided by divine forces, can evolve. It can take on a life of its own. And as it evolves or takes on a life of its own, other energies can interact with it and cause it to mutate. But what you need to understand, and this is again why I'm not willing to talk about a lot of this to the general public, unless I know you. If you create an energy ball, right? And it's very easy to do. And we do it all the time. In fact, most of the things that are making our lives miserable are energy balls we created and are living inside of us. In this context, we're charging our lower dantian, we're bringing that energy ball out, we're programming it with exactly what we want, and then we're sending it off into the world. I'm telling you, give it to God with the express word declaration, this or something better. And trusting God will bring you that or something better. Liz says, can you explain it with a paid program? I don't have a paid program that explains this. Not yet, anyway. That's why I'm giving you some guidelines. Because I know just the fact that we mentioned it, that we brought it up, you guys are going to be Googling, you're going to be YouTubing, you're going to be running to Amazon and buying every book you can on sex magic and manifestation and all these other things. It's human nature. So let me explain to you what's not in the books. When you create a thought form. That's what that's called. That energy ball that you created and you program it with something is called a thought form. Okay? And when you program it, there are 8 rules that I don't have time to do in this training for working with thought forms. But the moment you release that thought form, and it's not guided by divine providence, chaos takes over. And if it encounters any other energetic parasite, entity, nature spirit, other thought forms, departed ghosts, they can combine. And now you've got a chimera. You've got something that is not what you intended, but is energetically and karmically connected to you. So everything that energy ball does, once it leaves your grasp, you're responsible for. And that thing can outlive you. So when you come back, you're responsible for all the karma it was wreaking in your previous life. And now you got to clean up that karma too. Do you see why maybe I didn't want to talk about this? Great question. Do you create that unwillingly every time you orgasm? Yes. The difference is, more often than not, those thought forms are very short-lived. They don't have a lot of cohesion to them. But yes, you create an energetic discharge that is basically free food. So many times, how many of you have ever had, since we're on the topic, we might as well talk about it, right? But before I do, let me remind you, and guys, if you guys come to Vibrational Influence or the Healing Intensive, we can talk about more of this stuff, right? I'm not holding it back, but we have to stay focused. So let's just review what we've got for the training, and then you guys can decide where you want to go, okay? So once again, you're going to get the Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study Course, $1,997 value. You're going to get Vibrational Influence United Kingdom Special Edition, $2,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to have the Vibrational Healing Home Study Course, $2,497 value. We're going to get that to you free. Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value, free. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Soulmate Secrets, $1,997 value, absolutely free. You get the Fast Action Bonuses, Attraction Mastery 4-Day Intensive, $2,497 value, free. NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program Practice Group and Trial, $1,597 value, free. By the way, the Mastermind is actually a great place to ask these questions because I know you and I have time to spend with you. The Fast Guest Pass to the Virtual Healing Intensive, $2,350 value. We're going to give that to you free. The total value on this combined value is $19,926. You can get it all for just one installment of $997 or 3 easy installments of $397 each. All you got to do to get yours is go to nlppower.com/HLOA. That's nlppower/HLOA. And again, I don't want to hold things back, but I want you to be safe. And I can't teach you this stuff on that level and guarantee your safety on a webinar. I just can't do it. But I still want to give you guys stuff. But the more sexual energetics you play with, the more sexual energetics you play with, the more enhanced everything in your system is going to get. So if you've got a lot of eccentricities, character flaws, you started bringing sexual energetics into it, everything is going to be amplified. That's why sexual energetics and sexual manifestation techniques were only taught after years and years and years of intense spiritual and physiological purification and trainings in other things. Because now you have a vessel that can process and direct that energy. Okay? It's on the to-do list in my systems. It's just you have to be ready for it. right? Because if you start playing with it before you're ready for it, and a lot of you will, because I know you nature. So Leonard's asking why negative all the time? Because if it's not connected to the divine, entropy, chaos, and darkness sets in. Okay. That energy, any energy that you give off is a food source. The things, how many people here believe in, how many of you here believe in entities, cutting cords or spiritual parasites and things of that nature? How many of you believe in that stuff? Because if you don't believe in it, why are you on a class that teaches the law of attraction? Okay. So the thing you need to understand is that the higher up the vibrational spectrum you go, the less you need thought forms, the less you need any kind of technique to manifest. This is why if you how many people have killer influence or have seen the killer influence? If you've seen the manual on killer influence, in the beginning of the manual is a little saying, to know, to dare, to keep silent. And that was taken from the old mystery schools. And in the old mystery schools, to know means to have access to the knowledge. To understand means to have access to the knowledge. To dare means to have the will to influence, the will to manifest. To keep silent means to not tell the secrets behind what you're doing, but even more importantly, to be very, very careful what you say as you move up these planes of spiritual and vibrational evolution. Because as you move up these levels of evolution, what you say manifests. The words that come out of your mouth will create change as you level up your spiritual system, right? So again, you have to become more and more aware of the power that you're expressing in these practices. And we teach them. Don't get me wrong, we teach them, but you got to work through them. You see here, is there a trauma healing product in the offer today? Great question. The best one for you would be vibrational healing and secrets of personality transformation. If you use those two, it's going to give you the fundamental tools to deal with most traumas. We've got a course coming up called Real World Regression. We have a package on the website called Real World Trauma Resolution, which is actually an even deeper level treatment. But most of what you need for the average human being to deal with most traumas is in Secrets of Personality Transformation. We call it the transformational triad, but there really isn't much you can't deal with those techniques. Anthony's talking about he married something. I don't know what he married, but Cassandra's saying it seems like people are doing their own research already, getting half a story and aren't doing the things properly to begin with. That might be why the guidance is being sought. Plus, it is a sexy topic. And I've actually had some major discoveries about my own life and my own evolution with regard to sexual energetics within the past week, really. I thought my life took the path it did because of certain things that in retrospect, as I look back now, I realized why I took the paths that I did. Yeah, when we're dealing with energy, remember you're dealing with you guys know from science class, especially the last pandemic, how many germs and bacteria and parasites are floating around in the environment. Yes? Okay. Well, take that and then multiply it. And that's how much energetic stuff is floating around, stuff you don't want to see. Right? And so when you emit energy, and that's usually through emotion, that becomes a food source for those energies. And the more they consume, the stronger they get. Since sexual energy is the most yin, but it's also one of the most powerful forms of energy that you have, you're taking filet mignon and throwing it out there to anyone who wants to consume it. Now, does it always skew negative? Not always, if you follow certain guidelines. But once you give, it's like a child, once you give birth to it, the further along it gets in its development, the harder they are to control. So, let me see here. Anthony says, I married an evil entity. Ooh. All right. Well, I have some prayers you might want to say. So Oof Doofy is saying, if we orgasm by ourselves, entities are waiting to, yes. In fact, this is the question I was going to ask. How many of you have ever had an erotic dream? It's okay. We're adults here. We can talk about it. Okay. Most of the time when something induces an erotic dream, it's to harvest your sexual energy. Okay. Again, there's a whole culture that deals with this stuff. But that's, let me see here. BA says, I don't think some are asking these questions or aware of how many entities we may have around us and attached to us, feeding off us. That's true, right? And again, I try to minimize, by the way, for the record, you guys asked for this. Well, some of you did, right? I try not to talk about this stuff because A, it's really off on a tangent. But I also don't like the idea of just not giving you something, right? So let's just say, and then move on. Let's just say that the most powerful energy in your body is sexual energy. It takes training and purification and understanding of the dynamics of those energies to use them effectively for manifestation. And when you can get to that level, I've seen some pretty miraculous things from the use of the structured, trained use of sexual energy. It's really impressive. But you don't need that to manifest. If you understand how the mind works, how to pull in energies and combine things in a certain way, you already have more energy than you need. Right? And we're not really talking about the energy so much as the vibration of that energy. And how do we program that vibrational message into what we want? And I just showed you how to do that. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, make the picture bigger, make the picture smaller, move it closer to you, move it away. Going back to that idea of the holographic memory unit, that's how all of your subjective experiences are created. The thought form that we talked about bringing out, it's made of that. That's how you program it, right? But all the memories that activate when you try to manifest, that hold you back, all your limiting beliefs are made from this same structure. And you can reprogram all of these limiting beliefs by understanding how to change this structure. Okay. So if we look at this from and again, I'm running way over than time today, but hopefully, let me erase this. No, you're not going to erase. Oh, there we go. Okay. So if we look at this, there's 3 levels of intervention here. We can change the story. We can change the structure. Or we can change the substance. And that's what this red line represents. If you think of the energy ball we talked about, the outside of that energy ball, the substance that it's made out of, is vibrating at a very specific frequency that's being held together by these. This is the scaffolding that holds that energy in place. And the movie at the center is what it's programmed to do. Think of it like the nucleus of a cell, right? We can change the nucleus. We can change the structure, or we can change the substance. So, for example, hold on a second. I'm trying to look at the questions. There's so many questions. All right. So can you guys all see the little picture here? Or did I jump out of that? All right. So there's a couple of things we can do with this. Okay. If we can point to where we feel it, we can change it. So, first thing we want to do when we want to change a limiting belief, we want to notice where in our body that feeling lives. Once we find the feeling, we want to ask our body a very simple question. Is it okay to change this? Is there any reason why we might want to keep it? If we ask ourselves this question, and the first thing that pops into our head is either hesitation or no, it's not okay to get rid of it, or it's not okay to change it, then we need to point to where we feel it, find the picture out here, put a big, thick black frame around it, white out or blacken out the image, write the lessons on that screen, shrink it down, move it behind us, and nail it back there. That technique is called the magic frame. Okay. And I've taught it many, many times in many, many webinars to deal with the reasons why we keep remanifesting things or stop manifesting things. So I'm running out of time. So I just want to make sure that you have that technique, or I've talked about that technique enough. But let's assume for a moment that it's okay to change it. Let's assume that we've pointed to where we felt it, we found the color, we've asked our system, is it okay to change this? Is there any reason why we might want to keep it? And the answer is there's no reason to keep it, and it's okay to change it. Now what we're going to do is something very, very specific. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to look at it with our inner eyes. We're going to notice the color connected to the feeling. We're going to reach in, we're going to grab all that colored energy, and we're going to take it out and hold it in our hands in front of us. So we're going to make sure we get it all, because sometimes it hides. As we look at it, we're going to look at it with our inner eyes and notice, did the color change or stay the same, first impression? Then we're going to notice it's moving, it's spinning in a certain direction. Notice what direction it's spinning. Grab a hold of it with both of your hands. Make it the opposite of what it was. If that doesn't work, play with the direction it's moving until you find the direction that gives you the feeling you want instead, and then spin it like a wheel and double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling that energy over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot, hold that space, and let the program install. Okay? So what I did there was I walked through the steps of it. So if there's a transcript for this recording, it will be there in very clean steps. Now we're going to do it. So I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to do this in a very interesting way. We're going to actually, all right. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about something on a scale of 1 to 3 that you'd like to get rid of. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst thing you can think of, 1, 2, or 3 being everything from a minor annoyance to the proverbial fart in the breeze, right? You want to pick something that has a level 3. I want you to close your eyes. Actually, do this. Think of something on a level that you want to change. And when you've got the thing you want to change, that's a level 1, 2, or 3, type done in the chat. So I know you're all with me. Okay, good. Now, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to point to where in your body the feeling connected to that thing you want to change is located. And as you go with your first impression and notice, look at it now with your inner eyes. As you look at it with your inner eyes, I want you to notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to that feeling. What color or colors would that be for you, first impression? Now, you don't need to type it in the chat. I just want you to know what it is. Reach into that space and pull out all of that color that you can. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes it hides. Once you've got it all, hold it in your hands in front of you and notice, did the color change or stay the same, first impression? Now notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. Take your hand, trace the direction it's moving, Once you have that, grab it with both of your hands and make it the opposite of what it was. Make it flow the opposite direction. Now spin it like a wheel and double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it into the spot you took it out of. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Notice as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your system, any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with your new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice the process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, test it. Try to bring the old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off. And notice what happens instead. Many times, as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into our system, our body goes through all kinds of interesting changes and transformations. Some people break out into sweat. Some people laugh. Some people yawn. Some people cry. Some people twitch. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. However your body does it, it's just your neurology resetting itself. It's just the emotional detox. There's no need to measure it or manage it or make it happen faster. Just notice the process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, test it. Try to bring the old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off. And notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, and only when you're satisfied, scan your body and notice how different you feel. When you're done, you know you're done. Type what you experienced in the chat. Note of mind says, I feel lighter and cleaner, calm relaxation, color changed, feeling happier. All you did, by the way, was reach in, grab one of those thought forms we just talked about, found the direction that your neurology encoded for the problem, changed the setting, amplified it, put it back in. The system ran the software like it was nobody's business. Linus is saying more peaceful. Jack's saying feeling more peace, clearing, color change, feeling happier. Bravo, my friends. All right, so your assignment until we meet again is to take the technique we taught at the beginning of the training, where you make the movie of what you want. You find the dominant thoughts below the threshold. You point to where you feel them. You write them down. You zap them with the spinning technique. And then you run the movie again. Point to where the good feelings are. Take them out. Find the direction they're spinning. Find the direction that makes it even stronger, makes it feel even better. And amplify the spin. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to run you through that process. But before I do, last call for Hidden Laws. Okay, so once again, this is what we got for you. The Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study Course. And these programs, these trainings are, or these pieces are actually in the course. It's Hidden Laws of Attraction Home Study Course, a $1,997 value. You get the Vibrational Influence UK Special Edition, that at $2,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. Vibrational Healing Home Study Course, $2,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. Secrets of Personality Transformation, $2,497 value, free. Soulmate Secrets Masterclass, $1,997 value, free. Traction Mastery 4-day intensive, $2,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, 3-month trial, $1,597. We're going to give that to you free. And then finally, Vibrational Influence Live, $1,997. And of course, Virtual Healing Intensive, $2,350. Free. Total combined value is $19,000. This is one of the most value-packed packages we've ever offered. You can get it all for just $997 or 3 easy installments of $397 each. All you got to do is click that link right now, Hidden Laws of Attraction, NLPpower.com/Hidden Laws of Attraction, HLOA, NLPpower.com/HLOA. Click those links right now, and then I'm happy to teach you when you come to the lives, everything that you guys have asked about, and a whole lot more. All right. So if you're driving, don't do this, but let's close our eyes. I want you to think about that, run that movie again in your head of the thing you want to manifest. Right? I want you to close your eyes. As you close your eyes, notice there's a place in your body where the feelings connected to that movie that you're running are stored, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment, point to where you feel it. First impression. Look at it with your inner eyes. Notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those feelings. What color or colors might that be for you? First impression. Reach in, grab that energy, take it out. Make sure you get it all, because we don't want to miss a single drop of this. Make sure you get it all. As you look at it, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. Notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning for you? Now, regardless of what direction it's spinning, I want you to grab it with both of your hands. And I want you to play with the direction it's spinning until you find not only the direction that makes it stronger, but makes it inevitable for you. So play with the 360 by the 360 till you find the one that brings it permanently into your life. When you find that angle and direction, spin it like a wheel and double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's strong. Notice as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your body. Any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge, like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice that process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, test it. Try to bring the old feeling back. Try to turn the new feeling off. And notice what happens instead. Many times, as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your system, your body is going to go through all kinds of interesting changes and manifestations. Some people break out in a sweat. Some people laugh. Some people yawn. Some people cry. Some people twitch. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. However your body does it, it's just your neurology and your vibration changing and resetting itself. It's just the emotional detox that has to happen for these new programs to engage. However your body does it, just let that process happen. Let it install itself completely. And when you know it's done, it's locked in, test it. Try to bring the old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off. And notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, stop testing, scan your body, notice how different you feel, and type in the chat what you experienced. Jack says more relief. Where'd y'all go? Y'all still spinning? By the way, take as much time as you need to let this process set in. Shima says speechless spinning turbo mode. Aaron says red green ball spinning in my heart. Leonard says confirmation. Very good. Solidity. Excellent. All right. So once again, to review, you run the movie. Notice where the good feelings are. Notice where the not so good feelings are. You point to where you feel the not so good feelings. You take them out. You spin them. Put them back in. Run the movie again. Point to where the good feelings are. Grab the color. Take it out. Find the amplification and permanency direction. Amplify the spin. Slam it back in. Let the system engage. And go out into the world and take the actions necessary to move that agenda forward. Let it go. Trust that the system is now transforming. Now go out and take the physical steps necessary. Okay? And you'd be amazed, I think, what will start to happen, right? Hopefully, I will see you guys in Vibrational Influence in November. I hope you had a good time. We went in some interesting directions today. Obviously, I've at least dropped the hint that there's a much deeper well of information accessible to you if you decide you want to walk that path. And again, it's not being held back, but you have to qualify for the trainings, right? So just show up. If you want the information, you can spend 30 years fumbling around in the dark, or you can find a good teacher. I'm not the only good teacher out there, but I am the one you know. So you do what's right for you. Click those links, get to the trainings, go through the course materials. Everything you need to transform everything about your life is in those courses. Okay? And you have me, and you have the mastermind, and you have the live events. It's all there. Until next time, I love you. I'm going to be at my Christian Mysticism seminar this weekend, and we'll see you next month or later in the month. Love you. Good night. God bless. Take care. Adieu. Awel. Avida Zane. However that song goes. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you.